beginning, we thought we were gonna save, I think, 3 full-time people, and that never happened. I hate to see it happen over here, too.
Then they became laborers or operators.
Yeah.
Let me see here. Yeah, he cut the 51 and 18. He cut $69,000 from part-time or summer help.
Does he have any part-time people there at all?
Yeah, he does.
Yes.
He does.
He,
So if they move these two into those positions, then we get rid of the part-timers.
What he's cutting out of this budget, your summer help, which was your zookeepers, and then some of them were temporary summer help that help with mowing and stuff like that. So they're just a temporary anyway, but he has some part-time, full-time, which he needs some of those part-time, full-times.
Yeah.
I mean,
The ones that were
this is,
zookeepers, that's a no-brainer. We don't have a zoo, we don't need part-time zookeepers.
they didn't use those even this summer because the zoo wasn't open. Those are the zoo attendant
If that was in the
positions.
budget,
yeah, it was in
Right.
the budget, yeah,
that part's easy to say, okay,
Yeah.
eliminate that one because there's no zoo.
yeah.
And so then they've also been operating without these people as laborers up to this point.
But they were gonna let them have the option to go into labor,
Okay.
so they didn't get laid off.
Yeah.
And I know it's not as much, but when we do lay them off, then that also goes back on unemployment for how long? We're still paying unemployment. How long is it? I mean,
I'm not sure what the rules are now. Let me ask Cheryl.
It's a year.
A year?
Yeah,
Is it a year? I
We're
thought it
paying
might even be
two right
If
longer.
they
now.
get a job, it stops.
at I think it's about
Well, why would
$400
you
a
do
week.
that?
Yeah, I think it's about
Year.
$400 a week. We're paying for 2. Currently,
So,
Interesting.
okay, no one wants to lay anybody off, but can we have an agreement that if a position becomes open, we don't hire that, we use who we have?
yeah.
Yeah.
No new hires.
Yeah, we don't approve any new hires.
Basically, just say they're at least one full-timer high.
Yeah.
So,
I intend to talk to Ryan and Christie today. I was gonna meet with them today. It's probably gonna have to be tomorrow because my schedule just got full a little bit.
So I see a note on here, on the left bottom, says includes all CIP requests for 2026 in what we just got. Is it wise we go ahead and go through that list? I see it here in the book.
Not in these new documents, right?
No, the original book. So we knew we had the parks equipment, and so this includes the trucks and the police cars and all that, so,
What page is that, Eric?
that's 40. Starts on 40 anyway. I don't remember going through this yesterday, except as it came up within the budgets. I'm just curious if there's anything in here we may have missed that we could push to the next year.
I mean, as you see, a lot of those aren't even city general.
No, but it allows us to move it out of
Yeah.
city general if we got,
In the back of your book, there's also a list of capital asks divided up by fund.
So-
Oh, that was an extra one yesterday that they gave us, yeah.
so the park's got a dump truck for 25 grand, and there's 75,000 in playground equipment. I don't remember hearing what $75,000 in playground equipment, where that was going.
I don't know if they've identified it yet. Third Street Park just got a new $60,000 piece of playground equipment. But
They all need it.
they all the parks need something. They're all operating with very old equipment.
But do they need them more urgently than we need firefighters? I mean, we gotta make choices, and we might have to wait a year on.
So where did they have those out of? Does anybody remember? Was that in the
CCD.
CCD?
And they had a total request, that got cut back considerably down, it ended up at 122,000.
Yep.
122 grand for park equipment.
Or any park
Yes.
improvements.
Which is standard every year. We try to give them around that same amount out of that fund.
For 2025, we gave them 190, there's 198.
So this is 75,000 for playground equipment, part of that 122?
Yeah.
It is.
Well, like Steve said, I think we have to make a choice.
Yeah.
That's a fireman.
Where's the capital stuff, did you say? Is it a single sheet? It wasn't in here.
There's this one that was in the back of your book, and then he's also looking at page 40.
Yeah, I'm looking at page 40. I'm just trying to find that one that you have there.
It was back here originally.
Guess what? Oh, here it is. I was gonna say, guess what? I don't have it anymore. Let's see.
Code enforcement vehicle replacements listed as $40,000 as well.
That's a controversy we had, wasn't it? Because he had 147.5 for park improvements, and you came up with the 122.
Right.
Yeah.
They had an extra. I'm sorry, I think playground equipment is down to 50, because it was at 75, and that is
Yeah,
that
you
extra
had that
25.
somewhere. You wrote it down, didn't you? But, yeah, how we changed that.
Pretty sure he did say 50.
Is that what it was?
I believe so.
They took out some things already. I know they took paving out. Was that it? Was it the paving? Yeah, it was the paving, I
The
think.
paving was already gone before yesterday's discussion, and so was the 75 to 50 in playground equipment, but Reedy had left the playground equipment at 75.
Yeah, on page 42, if you take the 25 out, the park this next year has a truck 30, playground 50, lawnmower 15, dump truck 25, tool expansion 2,500. And that's the 122.5.
So you said we took the playground down to 50.
To 50
Yes.
on that, that's
On
what,
that one,
that's
okay.
what the 122.5 is, that's
Okay.
on there.
Right now, in the
Items
most
that-
recent budget that you just got today, CCD has 122.5
Yeah,
for park.
yep,
And
that's what I just went through.
Steve's
yeah.
list is what we just went through.
Yeah.
Is correct.
I'm just hard pressed to be in favor of 50 of park equipment when we're struggling to keep our public safety budget.
And I think it's easier to say, delay the park equipment than lay someone off in another department to accommodate a new hire.
Yep.
How about the dump truck?
I think I kill them both.
Is there another department that has a dump truck that they could use when they needed it? Does the street department have a dump truck they could borrow when needed, that kind of thing? And
No, 'cause I don't think
They do
use
for a
it.
while.
I think if you drop those two, you know,
Take out the playground equipment and the
dump truck.
dump truck.
you know,
And I brought up the code enforcement vehicle replacements 40.
Okay, minus playground equipment
He already said he can use one of those decommissioned Explorers.
and
you know, but they don't.
dump truck.
You know, they don't go anywhere.
Okay, where's the code enforcement one?
At auction.
It's in, PS Lit.
Is it on the,
It's on page 15.
oh yeah, I was looking back in the other, the actual capital.
So to confirm, we took 75 playground to 50 yesterday?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry, I didn't clarify that sooner. I was trying to find my notes.
So you're saying we're also gonna take out the code enforcement vehicle?
I'm just bringing it up for discussion.
Well, like you said, they can use one of those old Explorers, let them use it.
Yeah, they don't. they
So if
never
we
go.
did that, they asked for 5 police vehicles and code enforcement. And you already cut,
Cut 2 vehicles, I think.
how many did you,
Or
that's
3
what I
maybe.
thought. I thought we
Three
cut,
altogether.
Three.
He had 5 police vehicles, 1 code enforcement. We cut it down to 3. I haven't looked in the new one yet. I'm not sure. I assume they made that down to 2 then for police vehicles.
I honestly thought we were cutting 6 to 3.
Right.
We were originally cutting half.
Well, it was 6
Okay, so-
for
so
his
code enforcement's
department.
already gone.
right,
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
Because we're saying 3 police
All right, so
vehicles.
I'll scratch
'Cause it
that
was-
off my
It was
list then.
5 police vehicles, code enforcement equaled 6.
Okay.
I was
So I
a little
think- I thought
confused
we-
yesterday. In the earlier meeting, Matt said that the engine ladder equipment, the 40,000, that they could do without. Then when he came back, we brought it up and he kind of hem-hawed back and forth of, and I wasn't sure where he landed on what he really needed of that 40.
What he said, Steve, is that some of the equipment on the existing truck could go
Yeah,
over to
could
the,
go
Yeah.
but they still needed some of it.
Yeah.
So we didn't really get a number.
Well, I said, can we cut it in half? And he said yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so can we move that 40 to 20 then?
Where was this? PS lit?
It's on
PS
your,
lit.
it's on your, that right hand of things to discuss, fire engine ladder equipment 40.
It's the fire engine
Engine
ladder
ladder,
equipment.
okay.
And you're saying take that down to
20.
20?
Yeah.
Engine
And
ladder.
that's one of the things on the discussion items box on your
42, 20.
bottom right.
So the police vehicles, it looks like in our new version of the budget, the code enforcement vehicle stayed in and the 5 vehicles went down to 2. Am I hearing that we want to keep 3 police vehicles
Yes.
and 0 code enforcement?
I thought we
I think
said
that was our
2
intention
yesterday.
yesterday.
I thought we said 2
I
yesterday.
thought we went to
3.
2.
I thought we went to 3.
We went half.
We
said
definitely
half.
went to 3, but I don't
one
think
of
we
them was the code
clarified which 3 to
And
these
Scott will
guys.
definitely want the cruiser over.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah. So, then if that's true, let me find my PS lit here.
How much is that? What they have it, 40?
265 for all 6 of
They
them.
have it, what, a 50, Eric?
Well,
Per
the
car?
code
Or the
enforcement's
code
in here at
enforcement,
40.
grand? Okay.
And they said they would eat the labor on moving
Yeah.
the camera system over, so not quite as much savings in cutting that, but
So we're taking that totally out. Okay, then, so what'd they do with the vehicle equipment then?
They also should have cut it in half.
It should be.
They cut it down to where there were 2.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So
Yeah,
that
because they were
needs to be-
18 each, so that needs to move back up
We want 3 police.
to
vehicles,
54.
3 equipment.
Yep, that's it, yeah.
Yeah, vehicles need to go to 54, or equipment needs to go to 54. Okay.
Then, okay, and we're good with the fire engine ladder equipment, right? Everybody's good?
Down to
That's one,
20.
Yeah, we went to
20,
20, yeah.
okay. Then the squad 1, or he also had, he had 2 vehicles
Yeah,
in
they
there.
already took one of those out on here.
So which one are we gonna keep, the command or we're taking command out?
Let him-
Command is
let-
already
Let
out.
him say which of those 2 he wants.
Reedy just took command out,
But, okay,
but
same money.
it's the same money,
so he can
Okay.
decide
and it
which
was
of the
agreed
2.
that Matt would
so maybe we
choose.
should just make that police or fire vehicle.
Yeah, we can change that to fire vehicle.
Yeah,
Can ju-
okay,
Yeah, he can take whichever one he wants.
okay, so that's taken care of.
And I'm curious, Mayor, what's your comfortability level on taking the SS4A match 50,000 out backing that up with probably your professional services if the RDC doesn't take it on, which I'm pretty comfortable they will.
Because I was gonna say, I don't really have an abundance of professional
No,
services.
but you'd have enough to pay it and we additional appropriate it later if.
Yeah, I guess we could do
I,
that.
I'm rolling the dice and saying I'm 90% sure that they'll pick that up. It's 50 grand.
If they would, I mean, are you giving me 95%?
I'm telling you, I'll vote for it.
If they'll take it, that'd be great, because, I mean, like you said, I could always come back for additional, but as we move forward on economic development and stuff, I mean, like today, Barnes and Thornburg, or, you know, people like that, it's gonna,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So you know, as I would sit in that seat, I think, okay, this is justifiable. This is one of those amenity making, you know, action pieces that I think the RDC would get behind.
okay. So take it out, and we'll go to RDC and see what happens.
Do they have the funds to do that?
Oh, my gosh, yes. RDC's rich. Well, maybe not rich, but
But
they
they're
have,
committed to pay.
nah, they're
We've got enough.
they're in great shape compared to us right now.
So I just know they're committed to pay, like, the bond payments for, what, the pool?
The aquatic center.
They're,
And police station too?
Nope.
No. I thought they had another one.
Aquatic Center and Prairie Creek Park.
What about this building?
Nope.
I do think we ought to try to get the Prairie Creek Park funding back over into the parks budget within a time frame. We discussed that previously, you know, setting a number of years, or maybe there's a roll down. And that's just getting funds where they need to be.
The RDC, what is it, like, is it 20, 25 years that they'll
Yeah.
have that funding?
But, you know, when I talk about things like taking on that, what's $100 grand a year on the programming, you know, based on this, in another 7 years, we start being okay.
Oh, you're saying the funding for the entertainment, not the
Yes.
bond?
No, not that.
Oh, okay, okay,
I
yeah.
consider that was an RDC project,
Yeah,
so.
yeah,
But the funding is not something that was originally discussed, and I don't think they need to take that on in perpetuity.
right.
But it, helping us through
At
this
some
tough next
point,
5
look at-
years.
Yeah, so Clarence, right now, RDC they're in really good shape financially, aren't you, Eric? I mean, as we looked at their financial reports.
Yeah, I mean, we're okay
they-
then.
They could pick that 50,000 up and,
Now, something to consider is there has been no big redevelopment asks for a while. You know, if something big comes along, we have to start being more concerned about a budget. But as of right now, there's nothing on the,
So you're a member of the RDC?
yeah.
Okay, so you know more about that than I do.
And I'm just saying, I think it's appropriate to ask for this SS4A to be covered, the match to be covered. There's a real good chance that they could take that on as covering that match.
and if you need a copy of the RDC financial report, I have it, or also Carol has one, or,
I
yeah, you might want to,
I don't know
yeah.
when I saw the last report for the RDC.
But we get a report every year from the council,
Yeah,
the financial report from
yeah,
Reading,
the financial report. They come in and
pass-through report.
they have to bring it before the council yearly, so,
I
Okay.
think we did it in the spring.
I can't remember.
Yeah, I think we
April.
did it in the spring and April, yeah.
But if you want a copy, I have it, or Carol's probably got one, or, but they're in good shape. But they want to be too, like you said, in case something comes up that they want to spend that for.
What about the hot box?
Unfortunately, I think they need that.
They do,
Yep.
Yeah, I'd hate to
I mean,
think
I
we
like
can't
to-
fix potholes.
yeah.
Did we all agree on that SS4A?
Yeah, if they'll take it, that'd be great.
Yeah,
It takes it out, edit, right?
Yeah, I would take it out of edit, yeah. And then if,
Yeah, can we switch something from general into that?
edit's still a little, they're already 500,000 deficit,
Okay.
so,
But we don't have that much capital left in general fund to move over. We'll probably have to be mindful of that.
would that take the park improvements down to, did we say?
Let me run that really quickly. Oops. So we took 50 out,
And the
then
dump truck?
25.
Yeah, right?
47.5.
Okay, so park improvements is going down to 47.5, okay.
So is the thought process here to move a fireman or maybe two to PS lit to free up the general fund, and then we reduce some of the other capital outlays to balance that? I'm sitting here looking at the general fund, and there's only 12.5 left in capital outlays, which is what we could move to CCD, and if we're gonna eat up the balance on CCD, we don't have that much capital to move over. But we can move the firemen over to PS lit for the year.
So you're saying one from each?
Just whatever balances.
Yeah.
If our intention is to get the deficit to zero on general fund, we can do that with some moves, but then we've gotta make cuts where we move it from to be able to be sustainable for this projection that they've given us here. And, well, that's a little ugly on,
Yeah.
through 2028.
I mean, do you think that's realistic on city general to get it to zero?
Yeah.
You do?
Even getting to zero only gives us a 23% cash reserve. They sit there and told us 25 should be our minimum.
With hopes that we get that supplemental another year.
And the PS lit goes away after 28.
Yep.
Now, are they gonna come back, I assume, a little bit later and give us guidance on what we have to do to, make up for the loss of PS lit? I mean, are they gonna be working on that, or is that gonna be Barnes and
Yes.
And I think we need to probably, is it 27 that we'll have to pass things, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
I would like to
there's
see
some
them-
municipalities starting already, so I'm just
Yeah.
curious where all the rules are gonna be there.
Yeah, maybe we can make note of that, ask them to.
I think that's going to be across the state. You're going to see that's going to be the main topic of conversation, particularly at AIM and any type of conference.
Yeah, I wasn't going to go to AIM this year, but I'm curious if they'll have more workshops about these tax changes now.
Even more reason to go.
What did we decide on the hot box?
I think we need it.
I agree, I think we need it, but did we definitively hear that what they got won't last another year? I can't remember what he said.
I don't remember it either.
I'd love to see that go to 2027, but if it can't, then they're just gonna be contracting pothole filling with another company, and We're
That's
gonna
gonna
spend the
cost
money
us,
anyway.
yep. We'll spend a lot more than,
They'll spend more.
I didn't bring my phone, or I could ask him.
What do you want, you want me to ask him?
Yeah. Time we're in the budget hearings, and we need to know on the hot box.
You know, I guess, can we shift it to, can he get by until 2027 budget? with it?
But Eric, is it gonna be any easier for 2027? What I'm seeing, I don't think it's gonna be any easier.
Well, depends on how many people react to the,
I tell you what, I don't think we'll have next year, though.
enough people call up there, things will change.
I don't think we'll have any more requests for firemen next year.
Yes, we will.
Well, this gets the minimum. This gets the minimum. He
Yeah.
sat here and told us this will be the minimum to operate.
We need 7.
Well, the safer grants for 7. But, you know, we said if we can get you to 15 per shift, then he said he would make that work.
Is that with this 2 additional?
Yeah, that's where we get the 2 additional, to give them 15 per shift. And that's minimum. But he,
Hey, how are you, Nick? Oh, we're having our budget stuff going on, but you're
Come on
welcome
in.
to sit in. I mean,
It's
Oh, come
fascinating
on.
stuff, you'll love it.
There's some snacks out there if you're.
Don't tell him that.
how much, how much do we need to cut out of general fund still?
I don't know where we are.
We've taken 145 out, and we're talking about moving 2 firefighters to PS Lit.
But it's already in deficit.
But then we did take a couple of things out of PS Lit, right? Well, I don't know, because he had the wrong vehicle.
The general fund to 20,
Yeah.
25, close to 25%.
Yeah, I agree.
He's running down another one. I mean, it's out of one pocket or the other, but still. And it's all just kicking the can down the road to next year.
Yeah, but we, from what I'm seeing for next year, we can't do.
That's why I said it's just kicking the can down the road to dealing with it, but it gives us some time to work on it.
You said you had him run with 1,000.
Right.
Yeah.
You said you had Reedy run this with 1,000 as opposed to 1%. Is that a separate paper we don't have?
We don't have, we had, I didn't ever have a copy of
So
it.
I
don't
said,
think.
regarding your question on the 1,000 versus 1%, every 1% increase, as we know, is 85,000 for all funds, 70 for that. I calculated approximately 133 employees within the city, including the hiring 2 new firefighters.
So that's
This
another
may
50.
include some positions that wouldn't necessarily receive the increase. Court bailiff wouldn't. I don't know why they would even, or double counting for positions like court deputy clerk, which is yours.
But it's a lot more than 85.
He said it's 130 for all funds and 103 for city general.
Yeah. A lot more.
I mean, I was just trying to think,
Yeah.
you know.
You know, I did a calculation on just the police chief. A 1% for him was right at $1,000. And I did a 1% on a patrolman. It was only like $600 and some dollars.
I know. And
So-
your laborers at the other things, it's gonna be
Yeah.
about
Be
500.
Yeah, be about
It's
500.
gonna be a lot more.
That's
So-
the reason why I asked them to do the 1,000, so that everybody would,
But that
Those
may-
1% every year continue from now on.
So it's the 1,000.
Oh, 1,000 every year?
It gives a base.
Yeah, it wasn't a
Gets your
bonus.
base up 1,000.
yeah.
Okay. It's
I
not a
I
bonus.
assume you weren't setting that as a bonus, right? That you're
No,
setting-
no, 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 that was gonna be an
raise the
addition.
base
yeah.
rate.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah.
That'd be more expensive than the 1%.
Yeah, I just thought it was worth
A lot more.
checking into. It might be off a little bit, because I don't know if he included like,
But it's gonna be a lot more than 85.
I think if we went to like, instead of 1,000, go half that, that'd still be about the same. Even
it'd
if we
be,
just
it'd be
went
about
500.
50,000 across all the funds, and looks like it would be about 35 in city general, difference 35,000. If we went 1,000 versus,
If we went 500.
oh, if you go 500, that'd be,
I'd say about half that.
yeah.
I mean,
The reason why I'm okay with the 1% is our growth quotient allows it. By convention, we said we would not go, we would use that as a kind of a placeholder, and now we found we've got to come down from it.
Yeah.
But we've also set, we've got a perception of giving these standard raises all the time. I think it'd be hard to say none. Not, I think it's almost impossible to say none at this point with the environment the way it is. I think 1%'s kind of showing here that we can make it happen through some other tough cuts. I don't think we can go all the way up to 1,000, that adds 50. If we're trying to move money around the way we are. So I don't know, do you need a definitive council consensus on that, Mayor, or how you want to move on?
Yeah, I guess consensus, what's council think?
1%, I'm good.
you're talking about the 1%?
I'm good.
1%'s costing us 85,000.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go any harder than that.
No.
Tell them that, decide on the 1%.
Well, that's if you agree with it, Mayor.
Yep,
Yeah, I mean, not what I like by any means, but I don't see any way around it.
But you're okay advertising
Yeah.
the 1%?
Yeah,
There's an awful lot here I don't like.
I know, me too. I mean, but it is,
The corner we're in.
it's where we are right now. It's not what I want. I'd much rather be able to offer the employees more than that, but.
Mr. Kilman said absolutely you can move it to 2027 if the current one becomes operational. Inoperational, they'll have to do something, but we can accommodate that request.
Okay.
Helps.
Okay, so that's coming off.
Did we already remove the dump truck and the playground equipment both? We agreed on
Yes.
that?
Yes,
Out of CCD, yeah.
CCD.
That's 114,000. Right there. Is that what you got?
I don't see any other capital to get rid of.
189.
Oh, truck, you got the,
Yeah, 189.
how much was that?
I guess to you guys' credit, it was a fairly light ask
50 on the-
compared to years past.
50 on our,
yeah,
S, 44 on the hot box.
44 hot box, 50 playground, 25,000.
Not 50 on the playground.
Yeah, the playground equipment.
Well, what's this 190 under automated trash truck in the sanitation fund?
That's our lease payment?
Lease payment,
Well,
okay.
that's not on here. That's not on here.
What is,
Playground.
the park, that includes.
Well, the only thing that leaves I see is the other $55,000 fire vehicle.
75?
Yeah, 50 playground equipment, 25 dump truck.
Okay.
Are part of that 122. Once we're taking those out.
But I'm guessing, he said that's a 2016, it runs a
Gives us
lot.
189,000, right?
So,
I'm gonna guess that's the one he would absolutely wanna do.
so, yeah. Got it.
Is he replacing Or is he just wanted another, is he replacing, you know?
I think he said replace.
What's that?
It's a 9-year-old, that 9-year-old Squad 1.
Oh. Yeah.
What, wonder how many miles on that?
I don't know.
I'd want to know the shape of the vehicle.
I mean, obviously, we can cut it. It's just getting by another year with it.
I mean, I think a 9-year-old vehicle should still be good to go.
Do what?
9-year-old vehicle still good enough to go, in my opinion. I mean, I don't know what shape it's in, but I know.
We do also realize that when we do make them last longer, we save the new equipment, but we probably up the maintenance some.
We do.
Which is, I know what we're running into at the street department right now. We're spending a lot on that used
Yeah.
side load. A lot. But then if you go to replace that, then you've got a lease payment,
Then you got the
so.
full amount, yeah. It's saving by putting it off, but not saving the full amount.
It just
And
shifts.
things likely get more expensive the longer you wait.
Yeah.
My kids will call me cheap, but my truck's a 2001 work truck sitting out front. Runs great.
Mine's a 2010, looks brand new. It's just how you take care of it. You know, I don't know how many miles that vehicle has on it, may have, you know, mine has 150, but, you know, I don't know. That's a hard question.
Well, let's let the math say. So if we're gonna move 2 firefighters out of the general fund, let's do the math on that and find out if we can afford to run PS Lit the next 3 years that we haven't. Because the numbers I'm looking at right now, 302,000 deficit, given there's only gonna be a cash balance of 684. Basically, you got 2 years you can run till that's gone completely. That's unsustainable. So,
Well, and that's without a supplement if we get it.
sure, so we're, can't bank on it, but it would help.
Right, right.
Maybe that get us through the 3rd year.
Because it was significant, wasn't it, this year in PS Lit?
For-
Supplemental?
425?
I thought it was 600 something.
What
It was 4 something in general. It was 9 total. I think it was like 2 to 3 in PS Lit and Edit each.
So it's significant, I mean, if we get that.
But it's also included in here. The 2025 is
The
included.
2025 is, yeah,
Yeah.
he just did not put anything for 2026.
Okay, so if we get that in 2026, that just helps bring us out of the deficit.
Which is what we counted on last year.
That's that using hope as a tactic.
Not as
So
great.
firefighters are,
But just on a small scale, there are 3 Eli Lilly people that have bought houses within a block of where I live in the last 6 months.
Is that
All
right?
of those income taxes will be
Significant.
that we compare into past. I mean,
Yeah.
And then multiply that by how many others, or that's just in a block of where I live. And that's, our efforts need to be on getting people to live here.
Yeah, we need more people, that's for sure.
That doesn't help property tax until, population doesn't help property tax until the next census.
Yeah.
But the income tax, we can start benefiting from right away by getting them to live here.
Quickly, you know.
You see somebody's already living out there at the Meadowbrooks?
Are they already there? I
Somebody's
knew
already
some of them
living
were
there.
pretty close, yeah,
I pulled in there
yeah. I knew some of
Monday,
them
just
were.
look, and somebody's already living in one of them.
I knew they were getting close up there.
The 4 of them are sold.
Is that what you're talking? Is that?
Yeah, we pulled up there and
Did you buy one?
Yeah,
Did you buy one?
within a block of where you're.
What?
I'll never move.
On Glendale.
I got something I'd like to bring up and discuss real quick. Yesterday, Kimberly Black was in here and Kipper deposition. And, I thought about it, I agreed, it was pretty quick, and, you know, I can't do this, that's okay. So I've been thinking about this and thinking about this. I think an assistant, and I don't mean a full-time assistant, I mean maybe somebody comes in on Monday, Wednesday, or Friday, or whatever day she thinks, or when she needs it, doesn't have to be 3 days a week, could be 2 days a week, whenever she needs the help. She does a lot. A lot. I don't know her personally, other than, hey, Kim, how are you, and this and that, but she does a lot. This lady writes a lot of grants. I don't know if you guys have checked what it would cost, to have somebody else write our grants. It's a lot. I checked, it's a lot. I think on a need-to basis, that would be something that would be beneficial. We don't want to lose her. Not saying that she's leaving, she's gonna quit, I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying we don't want to lose a person like that, because then you're gonna start over. And when you say, oh, we don't need that, yes, you do need that. You have to have social media, you have to have a grant writer, you gotta have somebody that's on top of stuff, that plans events, that does this and that, 18 other things. That's, I wanted to bring that up. I think that's something we need to think about. Don't know what an hourly rate, I don't know, what the city pays, 15, 16, I don't know what that is.
16 to 19.
Okay, we could figure that out, maybe start them at 16, and if she needs it for 2 days, she needs her for him or her for 6 hours, different times, that's not a full-time job. She'd have a budget, and you got this much money to spend.
What's she having a budget for that?
So I'm just thinking that's something we need to think about, because it's really important. We gotta have that.
Wasn't that in the budget?
2340?
We pulled it
23.
out yesterday.
We pulled it out.
Yeah.
It was, that's 25 hours at $18 per hour.
Okay, let's say 24 hours, that's 3 days, 3 days a week, no more than that, at $16 an hour.
That's not even 24,000.
You know, it's like,
Yeah.
You know, we didn't have her in front of us long enough, or maybe it wasn't appropriate at the time, but the question that I would ask, and maybe it's a little bit more towards the mayor, she made a pretty good case for her extra time being taken up as absorbing more responsibilities from other offices. So what kind of efficiency changes could we make to draw her back into what she was originally hired for and make those other offices responsible for everything that Kimberly's been helping with?
Which is why I ask building services to cut their part-time, because they weren't, they weren't using it. Nobody was in there. I would rather cut their part-time, which we did, put a part-time for Kimberly to help with like those things, because to have somebody come in there that understands like ADA or grants or those type things, you've got to have somebody that has that knowledge. You're not going to bring somebody in for $16 an hour part-time in Don's office to help with ADA, keep it compliant, help write grants or help with whatever. That's why I felt it was more efficient to have somebody come into her office and do that rather than just have a body in there answering the phone for $16 an hour in building services. And the girls don't have time in building services to do the ADA compliancy. I mean, this has become huge. ADA has become huge for us, and if you don't stay compliant with that, then you lose your grants.
So the mindset is it's better to have Kimberly help them than someone specialize in that particular thing in the building services office. That's,
Yeah, I mean, we don't have anybody in there in building services. I mean, they didn't know anything about ADA. When I went to ask them, why are we not compliant? Why didn't this come? They didn't even know where the book was. Do you know what I mean? And Kimberly stays up on that for us. That's part of.
and she's learning, she's getting certified to write grants and this and that. You know,
She's going
Yes,
to get that
you know,
certification.
it's hard, and if you go out and start looking for people who can do that's familiar with our situation, our city, they're not there. I'm just telling you, they are not there.
You're not gonna find somebody to do as much as she does in her office for her pay.
No, you're not.
You're not.
You're not, I'm telling you.
So,
So I I don't know what you wanna come to a consensus on, but, give her 25 grand a year. That's your part-time help.
she's only asking for 23.4.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I know, I just figured that.
Just figured at 24 hours at $16 an hour, it was
16? Yeah.
19,968.
Okay, so make it 23, so she has a little leeway. If she gets somebody and she thinks they're really good, maybe she can pay them $17 an hour. That'd be up to her, or an NHR, however the city works that. But, I think we really need to think about that, I really do. But I think that's awful important.
I think a lot of thought needs to go into who is hired for this in the division of labor between Kimberly and this person. You're not gonna hire somebody part-time to do ADA grants and learn all this stuff. I mean, that would
No.
have to stay with Kimberly, and
That would
this
have to stay
person
with her.
can do social media and whatever.
Exactly.
I mean, community development and economic development is extremely important, so that would just have to stay smart with who's doing what if we're gonna hire this person.
I agree.
And she's extremely good at all that.
I agree with you on that. There wouldn't be somebody.
Yeah, you're not gonna bring a part-time grant writer in
No,
and,
no, they're
you're
gonna
not
help out
do
on
that.
that.
No, you're
I
not
would
gonna do that.
suggest maybe a slightly different approach, and that would be allow the RDC to do a contract employee, because they can't pay an hourly rate, but they can enter into a contract. And we all know Kimberly works with the RDC a lot. A lot of what is happening is central to the downtown, which has been 95% of what the RDC has done. I would maybe query the RDC on a contractual agreement for that particular person. I don't know how that enters in through the clerk treasurer's office with, does that person still get a W-2 or whatever the case may be, if it's a contractual position, but just might be another way to pay for it if you want to go that route. Because, I mean, I understand what you're saying, John, and there's a lot of stuff going on there. We just haven't gotten to zero in the general fund yet, so I don't know where we put it.
Well, I will tell you, if you would go a contractual person through the RDC, you're gonna pay a lot more than that, because to have somebody to come in.
I'm not talking about having somebody come in, if
And
it's
do-
the same person that's hired, basically 1099 them through a contract. That's the only way RDC could pay for it.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing out an option,
I mean, I don't know, could we give her, oh, go ahead.
are we talking a grant writing contract? Are we talking a social media marketing PR management contract?
I think, if you would do that for somebody to come in and write grants, if you're gonna spend a bunch of money.
If we're gonna come in and have somebody write grants, we don't need to be involved in that economic
Yeah.
development for $4,800 either.
Yeah, exactly, I agree, yeah.
You could move Kimberly over to become the economic development director. That's the only position the RDC can actually pay for as a director.
I didn't even know they could do that.
Still get her an assistant and so.
I'm of a position, I don't really care how we do it or what we do. I just really think we need to keep our good people. They're so hard to get. You see now hiring everywhere. They're good people. You just gotta keep them. I don't mean overpay them and do all kinds of silly things, but you've got to keep your good people. You can't have a revolving door, and if you do, you're never gonna get good people.
Oh, you're doing figuring.
What you need?
I was just gonna say, do like 20 hours by 16.
So Eric, if you're saying that RDC could pick up Kim's salary?
Well, the RDC has the ability to have a director. I don't know how the pay goes.
16,000.
I guess I'm just looking for other methods rather than adding to the
For
general
six-
fund.
Right,
For
I agree.
16,640, you could have
20 hours.
20 hours, 16
16 an hour.
an hour.
And what kind of person are we gonna be able to find for $16 an hour?
I don't know. Right, somebody if they could just
A
keep up
retired,
on,
a retired person just wants something to do, the board said.
you know, we could keep somebody that could do like,
You got somebody at the park? They got an overage at the park?
I mean, for somebody at that rate, though, could it just be someone to help Kimberly with like the
That's what I'm
admin things and just take
Yes.
the little things off of her so that she
That's
can
right.
focus on the
That's
big
mainly what
things?
she wanted.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, that's what she's,
She,
I spoke to
if that
her.
helps her
That's
still
mainly what she
manage
wants.
social and plan the events and do the grant writing and just take
yeah,
the little
yeah,
nitpicky
yeah.
things
We wouldn't expect somebody to
out.
come in and do the
Right,
grants.
the big, yeah.
You have a
Shirley does such a
part-time-
nice job.
You have a part-time admin at the park?
That's their only admin, is part-time.
Yes.
Can you move a zookeeper to that? Give her that
Zookeeper.
part-time admin? I assume that's a person in a little bit more of a trusted position?
You mean not have the part-time admin and make,
I'm saying you got an extra body at the park with the zoo going away. We
Yeah.
don't wanna lay anybody off. If that's where we're a little heavy, is there a way to make a lateral move to still accomplish some of the task management we want and not put on extra labor? Do you have anyone out there you think with the skills that could do that?
probably not.
Mhm. Pat Smith is a numbers lady. She worked for us for a long time. She's
Yeah.
a numbers gal. She's not, that's
Yeah.
not something, she's not real social.
No, she wouldn't do the social media.
No.
Well, one thing, I don't think we wanna pay these guys anymore.
No.
We have to hold them up.
Right. We want to get them in here.
Just continue this when we're done with them for a few
Yeah,
months.
yeah. So they're here today to talk to us a
can get
little
them so you
bit.
don't have to
Okay,
get up.
talk about,
Sure.
but right now where we are, we're not, the city's not even involved in the data center county thing, but they may have some facts for us that's interesting if that ever comes this way. I'm not sure where we are. Right now, we're at the 100+ acres that's in the city.
Honestly, just don't even want anything to
It's
do
that
with
field right by Conagra.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. I was asked if that can even, with the abatement that they're under, if that's even a possibility that they can sell that land? I don't know. I don't know the abatement. I don't remember how that all
It's
took
still on.
place.
It's still-
Yeah.
Well, you know my honest opinion,
Yeah.
so I don't see that ever changing.
I think this is just the due diligence that the city has to do when approached by a multi-million-dollar potential project. We've done it before.
Billion maybe, right? Hi, Alicia.
I think it's inappropriate to just say out of hand. I'm against it when it's early in the negotiating process and it's part of the, in big corporate world, the negotiating process
Gary.
is give and take on a long-term thing, and to just throw it out
Who is this?
is inappropriate.
Hi, nice to meet you.
One of our interns this summer, I thought I'd bring him along if you don't mind.
Okay, no. There's Nick.
You guys are welcome to sit at that table too. That's what Mickey and Jerry were here yesterday.
Whatever
We
you're
set it up for them.
Whatever you're comfortable with.
And we left it up for you just in case.
Hot seat and then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a hot seat. So right now, and I think maybe Nick and Gary, you're probably up to date a little bit on this. It's not really, the annexation has not gone anywhere. The property is still in the county. Alicia, you could probably help on that a little bit too.
Yeah, so they pulled their, they had never fully filed their petition for annexation because we were waiting on a fiscal plan. And so they pulled all of their, what they had filed with us, with the CPC and with the city out. So that is no longer in front of us. Nothing, to my knowledge, has or may be filed. I don't know that they know exactly what they're doing at this point. My understanding is that they, at one time, had requested a meeting from the Area Planning Commission, but I don't know that that has been fully filed yet either. So my understanding at this point is it's just in a holding pattern, both in city and in county.
And there is 100+ acres in the city right now that they were looking at for the data center, but I don't even know where that is.
It's 171 acres right next to ConAgra, the little
Just on the east
triangle.
side.
107.
East side of it.
Okay.
Not 71, I don't
Okay,
think.
and it's right on the
100
southeast
what is-
corner.
It's a little over 100 acres.
Just a little over 100.
I don't know exactly the
Yeah.
correct amount, but yes, it is that triangle, Steve,
Mm-hmm.
next to ConAgra.
Yeah, and they've offered, I think, for some land for the substation.
Correct.
Yeah, but the land I feel like is still at ConAgra, but then I was also asked a question, which I asked Alicia about, because of the abatement that we've given ConAgra, if they can even sell the land to this company. I mean, there's a lot of things that we're trying to,
So, with regard to the abatement, I wasn't here when that happened. So what we need to do is get the terms of that abatement and look at that. Someone had suggested that ConAgra wouldn't be allowed to sell the land due to the abatement, like they had made a promise that they wouldn't sell the land. So that's something we still need to look into, but we'd have to dig into those old abatement documents to find that information. So that question remains open. At this point, ConAgra still owns the ground.
Yeah.
It has not been sold
Is this a railroad?
yet.
Yeah.
Whether it's under contract or not, I can't answer, but I
there's a
believe it to be
substation
based on the fact that they went in front of the BZA for that special exception.
and they had filed a petition to come before RBZA.
They have come before RBZA, the,
No, city plan is what I was thinking.
oh, yeah,
Yeah.
they filed a petition, they filed a petition to come before the city plan commission, and they pulled that petition. They have come before the BZA to get a special exception and a variance for the idea of building the data center in the 100 acres for, in the ConAgra land.
So the only thing that they're needing from ConAgra is for a substation.
So the substation would be for, so the utilities have needed a substation out in that area for a period of time, and we've tried to acquire ground to do that. We hadn't been successful at doing so. So part of the deal with the 100 acres in ConAgra is that they would, the developer, would donate or would give us land to put that substation up. And so there is an agreement that has been put out to the utilities to do that if the project moves forward
But they've pulled their petition with the city
for the
for that,
700.
and we've never done anything going forward on annexation. They wanted to come before the council, try to annex in that 700 and some acres that they don't own right now. They were trying to acquire it from, it's agriculture, most of it, and I think there's 7 or 8 residents out there.
Have there been, so we don't know where they are on annexation.
Presently, there's no movement on annexation. They pulled that and they haven't come back to us and said anything about doing it. So at this point, we don't know if they're planning to go through the county to continue with the 700 acres or if they're planning to petition the city for annexation in the future. But at this point, there's nothing pending before the council, and we haven't heard any news on whether or
But
not they're
we
planning to
have,
petition.
the mayor and I heard some news through the last PIP meeting we had. That PIP meeting was, would you characterize that as an emergency meeting? It was, I believe it was asked for by the developer. So we went to it and they said they would pull it back and would center the development just on the 115 acres. That's currently in city limits in the TIF area, doesn't require an annexation petition, and then they would review the need to expand the project later for later phases. So that was no commitment, that was just kind of news on where they're at. So annexation doesn't matter for that phase one.
So right now, it appears that phase 1 is already in the city.
That's the last information that was given, but also in that meeting, and Mayor, I think you and I both agreed on this, we said because of and I let you guys know this, because of all the problems this caused and the way this developer went about sharing information or lack thereof, is that we wouldn't support any movement moving forward until a public meeting was held to have a lot of citizens' questions be able to be asked and answered. And only then would we even consider moving forward. So this due diligence here is kind of on top of all of that.
And I'm not surprised to, that, my next question was where the politics of this, right? Because these things can be really hot. Data centers can be misunderstood, they can be very risky for a community, they can be very beneficial for a community, and depending upon who has the microphone, public opinion can sway dramatically. And so I was gonna ask, and it sounds like we're kind of in the middle of that. Folks are kind of getting on both sides of it. I'm not surprised to hear how secretive they are. I would be willing to bet do you know who's behind it?
They won't agree,
I figure they won't.
yeah,
I mean,
they've got an NDA.
Yep, they won't tell you. They probably have a developer entity that is behind it. But you don't know which of the big tech companies is behind it.
Yeah.
There are a number of things that you need to be leery of and be thinking about. I'm gonna hold electricity to one side, because it's like the big dog, and I'll get to that in a moment. You also have to be worried about water and wastewater.
Yep.
They use a tremendous amount of water. I would bet their peaking is off the charts on water.
1 million a day is what they were telling us.
Well, that may be on average, but I would bet you in the hot part of the summer, it goes way up. So what you gotta build is to serve that peak. And so they're not gonna be like any other customer you have. You know, a big industrial customer that you have, steady stream, that's what they give you 24 hours a day, never really changes. Data centers are gonna be way up and way down. And that causes costs. And the other problem that you have, you don't have another customer in town that is immediately gonna install computers who are going to try to learn how to use less water, right? I mean, that's part of what this data center is gonna, teaching itself, how can we function without using so much water? And so you end up with this situation where you may build a bunch of infrastructure to serve their peak. And then all of a sudden, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, they've figured out this is how we can shave that peak, and you've got a bunch of sunk costs. So that's a risk that you gotta deal with when you're,
Is there a, what is it, take rate that we did with Frito?
you could negotiate a special contract rate with them to try to, but you're gonna have to, you will have to protect yourself as you're approaching that with them to make sure that you where you don't wanna be, the absolute worst place you wanna be is getting to the end of the day and having all of your other customers needing to foot the bill for something you built. So water, just have that in mind. They are huge consumers of energy. If it's a big data center, it's entirely possible there will be a dedicated combined cycle gas unit just for them. You have the same issue there, right? What if you build that, and they're probably looking at multiple sites, right? So you don't want to build anything until you know you've got it locked down and you're secure. But you want to make sure that, and it would be IMPA, right? That would be building this generation.
That was one of the questions too, Nick, came up. I think they wanted to have redundant power from NIPSCO or
Someplace else, I don't know whether,
one or the other.
yeah.
Comes from the other direction.
We talked about Wabash,
Titmont, yeah.
Holly, Titmont, Duke. I mean,
So.
there's-
Titmont
what
can't
guarantee would we
serve
have
that.
we would
They don't
actually
have the
get all
power to do
and
that.
Not half of it.
Well, and frankly, and this is, I think I posed the question to somebody, do we want to serve on the power side? It's risky. And unlike, an investor-owned utility that gets to earn a return on investment that it makes, you don't earn a return. You just are recovering your costs. Well, your costs are I'm sure IMPA would love to serve They would love to build generation and serve it, but what's in it for you other than collecting dollars from them and passing them on to him? That would be something that I think you need to be thinking about as you're, is this truly a customer that Frankfurt wants? Maybe it is. But what's the benefit for Frankfurt for being that customer? So
Well, tax revenue was the only thing we had going for us.
tax
so-
revenue would be huge. Tax revenue would be huge. That's the big benefit. And look, they will create, they will create a lot of construction jobs initially. And they will have some fairly high-tech jobs operating that facility. Not nearly as many as they'll have on the construction side. They will have some nice jobs. I'm not gonna tell you that they're bad ideas. They can be really good ideas for communities. But you gotta protect yourself from, because you don't have any other taxpayers or customers like a data center.
And, I think that's the thing we're looking at today. We're in budget hearings today and we were yesterday. I think that's what we want to look at as well as, what kind of a financial impact that would have on the city, from what would be the benefits for us, what, would not, because, and that's one reason why I asked you and Gary to be here, is because that's pretty important to us as we move, forward in our budgeting process here. Would it even be something that we would want to look at, not look at, what I'm saying? That's.
The tax revenues are the benefit.
I'm concerned that there's been kind of a knee-jerk reaction that, no, we don't want this before we know all the facts. I'm looking down the road of Frankfurt's economic development, and do we want to continue to add smokestacks and manufacturing jobs when there's not going to be the people to do those and to only have that one thing? Do we want a bunch of warehouses like Whitestown? I don't think we do. This is going toward technology and possibly AI and some of the things of the future that it'd be nice if our city could be part of. At the same time, we just took a big political risk and a big investment in annexing and putting utilities as a city and county out to the interstate. Do we want all of our aquifer to go to this, and then all of a sudden we have this annexation area that we can't serve as possible new clients? So I'm not convinced either way, because there's some give and take. They did hold a small public meeting a couple weeks ago, and I did attend that, and the mayor was there as well, and I think
I was there.
Clarence was there. The guy was really good at saying things like, oh, well, you don't have to look at water. There's all kinds of systems like geothermal now where we can capture the water and reuse it. Well, let's continue to negotiate and make sure that's guaranteed. I don't, he was pretty good at putting out things without promising them. So that's part of the negotiating process, but I don't want to just drop it and say, no, we're not going to do it.
You mentioned the non-disclosure agreements. Has anybody from Frankfurt signed the non-disclosure agreement and actually sat down?
Not sure. The utilities might have.
I don't believe the utilities have.
Okay. Then I don't think so. The utilities have been involved for a while in negotiating with them before we knew about it, but I don't think they know who they're negotiating with.
I mean, I feel like, for you to get informed on for you to make an informed decision, I think something now that has the potential of being perceived incorrectly, but I think somebody's got to execute the NDA.
I'm willing to walk away from it if we don't get those guarantees.
You have to protect the city.
Yeah.
You absolutely
Yeah,
have.
but I'm also not willing to walk away from it before we've negotiated through and known what the real effect is. This could be a really, really great positive thing for our community if we can address some of those issues.
I suspect you're going to want somebody who does execute that NDA
Yeah,
and have those conversations.
yeah.
Well,
And you won't, look, they're very secret. They're
Yeah.
in steep competition with each other.
Yeah.
'Cause we're not used to doing that. We're used to dealing directly with the end user. So this is totally new.
And what you are describing is
Yeah.
it's just sort of how they go about doing this.
And with the public having to know everything that we do, we're kind of at a disadvantage in the negotiation.
Well, and it will, your sort of public setting is kind of at odds with, but I frankly don't know how you are going to get comfortable with, is this
Yeah.
something to pursue or not?
We got to be more comfortable than I am now.
Without somebody,
Yeah. Being an NDA, yeah. But anyway, to reject it out of hand without negotiating and going through that, the first salvo from a corporation isn't the end. This is, okay, let's see if we can quickly do this. Well, that didn't work. Well, let's start negotiating and getting to where it needs to be.
and I suspect some of the things that you need to know, on the utility side, they will tell you.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
That's getting at the heart of
Yeah.
what's going to be inside that building.
Before approval, that's got to happen.
Nick, do you think it would be an absolute deal killer if we made a statement that there would be no tax abatement on this project? Let's say the council did agree moving forward, it was not in our best interest to incentivize that way. Does that have a big
It's hard
impact?
to say. I mean, it really is. It's hard to say what would be a deal killer and what would not.
I mean, we kind of got the impression by how fast the initial movement was that maybe they didn't care. They needed the water, the electricity so bad, and then finding out the negative press that some other municipalities had got, that maybe they just was pushing on and didn't need it. But then in the PIP meeting, it was mentioned the end user may make a request. Well, it'd probably be appropriate for us to say, well, we're not interested in that at this point.
I do have a question maybe for Gary here too, is that at that public meeting, somebody said, well, you're just going to come in and get all kinds of abatements from our community. And the guy said, we don't want any abatements from your community. The state is going to give us sales tax and personal property tax abatement. Now, can the state give them personal property tax abatement? Because that a big part of the investment is going to be the racks and stuff that'll be personal property. And without that, our projected revenues from this really dissipate.
So I've worked on another one very similar to this, and in that instance, there was the ability to abate personal property for up to 35 years for data center equipment.
But the state can do that?
At the state level.
Or just
So-
give us the ability to do it.
I think it's through the IDC.
Yeah, because he said that the state's going to give us sales tax and property tax, so it's not personal property. So it's not going to, you're not going to have to do it. It's like, whoa, but it's going to affect our revenue
Massively.
massively.
What we've seen in other places is, we compute the revenue side. But like I think Ray Paul put it best, what do they need, what does it cost, and how do we pay for it? We don't know what they need, we don't know what it costs. I've got rough revenue projections put together for phase one. So I think, phase one, I actually got an updated site plan last week from Parker. I didn't meet with Parker on Friday. And that contemplated about 1.2 million square feet for the first phase, which would be across 7 different buildings. I think consuming a conservative per square foot metric, we could expect to generate, since the city could capture all this, this assumes that we would set up a tax allocation area on all those buildings, we would generate somewhere in the range of, 1.4 to 1.5 million per year. That's just on real property. I wouldn't expect personal property for the reasons that I described. None of Parker's analysis included any business personal property. I didn't know they'd already came to you and said that.
That was at this public
sense.
meeting when the guy was just being really kind of half promising, but without the ability to promise.
Yeah, so I believe what he's describing is through the IEDC and they have the ability to give up to 100% tax abatement for 35 years.
And that would probably significantly cut into the amount that you just said as far as the
So
revenue.
this is only real property owned.
That's real only?
It's real only.
Okay. Well,
So-
that's pretty significant for us.
Yeah, it's very significant. And across phase 2 and 3, and again, how that would work or, how it wouldn't work. We're talking, per year, again, these are just estimates, somewhere in the range of $11 million per year on the real property side. That's not for the city, that's
Yeah.
for county and city,
Yeah.
inclusive of phase two and phase three fully built out. That's the size of where it could go based on the site plan.
And I always have a little trouble understanding all this, in that it's mid-census and it's already in the city, and we're not annexing, does that add to our levy, or is our levy, does that just mean we're gonna, I mean, it's a good thing, but does it just mean it's gonna help our rates, or is it gonna actually add revenue to us?
Well, we should tip it if we're gonna, if you do the project, you could let it be absorbed by the base, tax base, because that would buy down the tax rate, which would
Yeah.
have circuit breaker implications.
Which
to the
again,
other side.
it's nice to have better rates, but
It's pennies
we
on the
need
dollar
the,
relative to what you would receive in the
Yeah.
allocation, especially under Seminole Act one. You're
Yeah.
gonna wanna put as much commercial development into the allocation area as you can,
okay.
for terms of generating.
And by doing that, we actually get additional revenue to the city and county.
So for phase one, the amount to you only would be 1.4 to 1.5.
To the RDC.
That's just what I was getting ready to say. If we
Well-
tip it, then it's RDC,
Could it be
right?
set up as a pass-through? I mean, that as a
I mean,
special area in the TIF as a pass-through?
The redevelopment, do you mean like passing through the assessed value to the, you could, like I said, for every dollar that you pass through, you may only see, 10 to 15 cents more in the operating funds.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't advise you do that. You definitely could.
Just gotta be passed to all taxing entities.
Right. So it would just, it would lower the tax rate, effectively reducing your circuit breaker loss margin. You'd
But if,
fluctuate more in the allocation.
but if we get it into RDC, there's a lot we can do with that too.
Well, and one of the big things that we're seeing now is the state's loosened up the restrictions on allocation areas. And
Okay.
I think Frankfurt's already done this, where you've included provisions in your EDA that allows you to fund public safety projects.
Okay.
So there's ways, I mean, I wouldn't look at like city pot, utility pot, and redevelopment pot as three different things, three different enterprises that stand on their own. They all can help one another out. So, I would look at ways that the redevelopment commission, especially in light of Seminole Act one, we're gonna need to get creative on how we pass through some of those expenses onto the other areas of utility and redevelopment commission.
And the amount you said, that's based on the 117 acres, not on the whole project,
That's
or
on
is that?
just phase one.
Yeah.
The 1.2
Wow.
million square foot.
If we can figure out the water,
But the question is, what are they gonna ask for? So,
Yeah.
like I said before, what do they need, what does it cost?
Yeah.
In the project I've worked on, the capital request was substantial
Okay. Capital request for
for infrastructure.
infrastructure, okay.
Site development. So that involves, and again, everyone, that's the city's engineer working with their engineer and figuring out how all that's gonna work with their utilities and what sizes it needs to be and where the water towers are and all those sorts of
Can
things.
we bond that and pave with part of the revenue?
You can. Up front, that may be a little bit challenging. And also in our experience as well, depending on the project, if you say, hey, this is a big user of water,
Yeah.
it's going to be, we estimate a $10 million hit on capacity, put the capacity back in the tank. That could be discussed as well. How we discuss that in the NDAs, I don't know. And how do you make ironclad decisions in the negotiation if they're going in under NDA as well? Those
Yeah.
are kind of the challenges
Yeah.
that we faced. But ultimately, in the deal that I'm referring to, we looked at the capital costs as a way of saying, if we're gonna do this, you're gonna put this much into capacity, for instance. And we computed an economic development impact in it as well.
Okay.
So for instance, we could say we don't have the sewer capacity, because what we have is being used with existing residents and businesses, that you guys, they would have to pay towards a new sewer treatment facility. That's an example of an arrangement that could be worked out.
So yeah, it's really hard to sit here today and say, wow, 1.5 million annually, that's a game changer. But
Yeah.
to what extent is that gonna be
Yeah.
towards?
And if it's 1.5 and we could have a bond that could be serviced for 700, then we're still 800 ahead.
Sure. And that's a phase one.
Yeah,
I
ju-
have heard
just-
phase three is gonna be substantially more infrastructure
Yeah.
than phase one and phase two. Obviously, it's 3 times the size.
One of the things that we're a little bit gun shy from is that this is the same guy that brought us ConAgra, and we gave a really, really good deal based on, this is gonna also include additional phases, and those additional phases never came. So it's like, okay, let's make sure that this alone is worth doing, because if the other phases don't come,
Yeah.
we don't wanna have a big investment.
I think this is common,
Yeah,
to Nick's point, having seen some of these, that they don't commit to the $10 billion day one. They say, we wanna commit to phase one, phase two,
yeah.
and we wanna have the ability to unlock a third phase, or a fourth phase, or a 10th phase. That makes that site even more attractive if we have the ability to do that out there.
Yeah. If you don't learn from your mistakes, you're a fool, and we just wanna make sure we don't repeat what we did.
Yep.
Now, as far as utility is concerned, we could have them build their own substation, right? Because they require lots of power. I know there's a 240,000 volt power line going across that property. And there's a substation not too far from there, only probably a couple of football fields from where our city limits are. So they could get power from that substation to that other substation pretty quickly. And that substation could be built big enough to supply power to that whole complex. But we can't build that substation. They'd have to own those own transformers, and then we'd have to do our rate study based on the fact that they own those transformers.
Yeah, it seems to me, just from my perspective, this could be a generational project opportunity for Frankfurt. It all just depends on what the capital needs are, and to what extent the operational capital needs for, police and fire to service that area as well, for instance, if we're considering the annexation piece.
We
where
could,
those costs come
we
from.
could safely say it will require fire service, so we would expect fire service to be paid for through the RDC fund. That's a absolute no-brainer if it would ever go through. So what about income tax? We'd have to assume that not many of those people would be coming from our existing employee base because of the educational requirements to do those jobs. So be a major lack of income tax if they don't live here. No, I mean, like any other business, we would want people to eventually move here, but we'd have to not bank on having that income tax of those, what they estimate, 350 people, I think, originally.
I think that's what they said.
I mean, only a few of those people would probably live locally initially.
We've got 145 for phase one, and then they've got approximately, depending on how you look at the map, between 600 and 900 for construction jobs.
In the long run, just the workers that would be manning the data center.
Am I right?
Computer
that
science
SB
degrees,
I'm sorry.
IT degrees.
85,000 a year was the average comp base they mentioned.
And am I right that SB one now has all of the income tax follow to their residency county? That,
That's how it is now. So
Okay.
you pay taxes based on where you live, not where you work.
Okay.
So what's specific about Senator Elect One is, almost, you can think of it what taxing district you're in. So before it was countywide, and you just share that based on population or levy. So Clinton County would levy a tax rate across the whole county, and depending on Frankfurt's share of, either population or general fund, I'm not sure which for Frankfurt, you would get the percentage based on that bucket.
Okay.
Now they're saying Frankfurt's geographical boundary will have its own ability to impose up to 1.2%.
okay.
So they would have to live in Frankfurt, not in
Okay.
Clinton County.
So if they live out of county, it doesn't change, it's still gonna follow their residency.
Go to the county and
Okay,
township.
okay.
For this people.
Yeah.
I'd call it one to talk about the people.
Well, I figured the utility concerns could be answered. Professionals could be called in and say, we can do that or we can't. The other two elements are, public perception. Does Frankfurt want this, yes or no, because of what a data center means by having one? Not the money generated, but the perception. That's part of our job is to consider that for sure. But then the big thing is how much of that is taxed? How much can we get out of it? Initially, we were told the new Senate bill was gonna do away with personal property tax, but that's not the case? Okay,
It phases to zero, but they didn't eliminate it.
they did.
And it raised the threshold at which it's a zero. It was a pretty small, and they raised the threshold that still pays zero. That's exempt.
Yeah.
So it depends if you're in an allocation area or not. So Frankfurt benefits massively from the revision to Senate Rollback to 1 compared to what was originally proposed.
Okay.
Because, we're 75+% business personal property in our allocation areas. If you now take all those business personal property assets that may be sitting at a 30% floor and allow them to depreciate to zero, we've now impaired the bondholders. Which we raised that concern, as others did as well. And Frankfurt was actually the example we used because it was a good, perfect example. And the provision was set to where if you're in an allocation area, your floor remains the same.
Okay.
Out of the allocation area and put it into service, I think it was after 1/1/2025, they're now allowed to depreciate fully.
Okay.
Which is interesting that you can have business personal property on one side of the road versus the other, and some of them will be taxable even more.
Yeah.
So, put that in general terms for us. If there's $1 billion in personal property that goes in on January 1, 2026, how long do we collect tax revenue from that?
So business personal property, especially for data centers, doesn't follow the same logic that you would expect to see from, ConAgra, for instance, but where, they probably have more long-term assets that may last, 7 to 12 years, for instance. So the amount of them sitting at the floor, they may have some that are beyond that, or year 7, they're at the 30% floor and they're sitting there, for instance. For data centers, they're swapping out equipment every 3 to 5 years, so they'll fall on pool 1 or pool 2 whenever they report personal property.
What's pool 1 or pool 2?
So there's 4 different appreciation pools that you're subject to when you put a piece of business personal property into service. And the pool depends on the useful life of the asset and is subject to a different depreciation schedule. So some of them, depreciate very quickly, get to 30% very quickly. Some of them depreciate very slowly and get to 30% very slowly. But all of them will depreciate to zero. It's just right now the statute is 30% is the floor. They'll pay at least for that, even if it's fully depreciated. For data centers, technology moves at a lightning fast pace, right? As soon as you buy a computer and you go home, it's outdated with the next model. So their data center likely is going to be re-outfitted every at least 3 to 5 years.
So you get
So
to the
they
start
may
of the
never
pool
be-
again.
They may never be at the depreciation floor. But if the state's exempting all the business personal property, it doesn't
And the state can exempt our rate.
I'm 90% sure that it's through the IEDC that they have the ability to fully
So,
abate.
Can we agree that is for sure a deal breaker?
Well, except Gary said that amount that he said was based only on the real property.
Oh, not personal.
Yeah, so we're not even counting on any of the personal property in what he said.
And there's other ways we can get money from it as well if we need it. Like I said, you can have conversations about what the capital needs are, having them pay for that. You can negotiate some sort of economic development impact payment where you say, look, this is gonna be an allocation area and that's different and distinct from the city, and we have police and fire needs, and it can't go towards operations, for instance, so we need to be made whole in this way. Those are all conversations that we can have.
The other thing is that anecdotally, we don't know this statistically or anything else, but the Googles and the Metas and all of them, the communities that they go into, they tend to be big investors in community kind of things, and after that starts happening, it kind of can sway public opinion back to them when they start seeing, okay, this is the Google such and such center, rec center, and this is the Google this, and they again, it's anecdotal, but they tend to be big investors in the communities that they're in.
Yeah, in my experience, they do not want to be viewed negatively.
Yeah, they work
Go out
hard.
of their way to ensure.
Yeah.
Well, and again, anecdotally.
Yeah. I mean, we can't guarantee that, we can't prevent statistics, but they tend to be good citizens and because they want to be liked.
Well, I'd like to jump back over to the legal side. Nick, if they want to come in and it's already in city limits, Alicia kind of alluded that we can't really stop them except for not supplying utilities at the rate they want. I mean, if they put
Well,
in
I
all
mean,
their.
if you can't supply the utilities that they want, that'll stop them.
Okay, well, that was,
Yeah, because they'll choose another site. Now, you know, the electricity is unique because they could get the electricity from Tipmont. Because that's in Tipmont's REMC, and there's nothing that would prohibit them from either side running a line across their own property and taking it, you know, for instance, putting the meter in Tipmont service territory, and then they privately push it over to your service area. They can do that, and vice versa. You're the only water. The only wastewater.
well, I had a couple people opposed to it talk to me, and, you know, I just said, well, partly, I think we have to follow laws that are in place, that if they're doing the right things, we can't say no until a point in time that it doesn't go along with what our rules are. So you're saying our biggest rule would be supplying utilities?
Well, yeah, I mean, I you know, I haven't looked at your rules, but you know, the amount of capacity that you would have to add on all of these utility services, I mean, it's probably, you know, this, I don't know what IMPA is proposing to you all for how they would provide the power, if that's just gonna come through your usual deal with IMPA. I would hope not.
No, they've proposed a special,
All right.
yeah.
I would hope not, because you don't wanna be on the hook for
No.
other deals that
No.
other IMPA members may.
The conversation with IMPA has been, that they would require a, special, forget exactly what they called it, but they would require a special tariff of some sort in order to pay for that large user. And there are other jurisdictions that IMPA has, that sort of thing, they require such a tariff for a large user.
I haven't looked at your rules, but I would certainly hope that your rules give you the ability, if there is a massive capital investment required to provide service, that you can say no.
Well, I would think this is this body with the mayor is the end say, because it would require a special rate, so we would have to pass it, right? In all
Yes,
likelihood.
you,
yeah.
yes, the council would have to pass the special rule, yes.
That's probably the biggest stopgap then, but we just need to be in control, totally, no matter which way it goes.
Alicia, on this 117 acres, is there any zoning that needs to happen, or are they okay if they just went forward that way?
On the 117 acres, they have gone before the BZA and they were granted a special exception and a
Okay.
variance so that they could build on the 117 acres.
Okay, so really our only control is what Eric just said, is the approving the utility.
Yes, they would have to, well, let me back up. So they got a special exception and a variance so that they could, in theory, build it, but they would have to present site plans and all of that in front of the city planning
Yeah.
commission. That would have to meet the requirements of our unified development ordinance and all of that. They would have to meet the airport authority, they'd have to meet the drainage board, all of those things. But assuming that they met all of those qualifications that are already in place, then yes, they could theoretically construct it without having any roadblocks.
Yeah.
But they would have to meet all of those requirements in order to do that.
So we talked about that being a TIF area. It's not currently. Would we want to make it a TIF area before we would move forward? with
That's not in the boundaries?
Is it, it's not TIF, is
I
it?
think it's county TIF on that area.
Not
No,
the
no,
100.
no, no,
On
no,
the
the
city part
100,
of the
the 100.
170.
No, just,
Is ConAgra TIF?
okay.
I don't,
I don't-
Yes, it is.
Well, I mean,
So is that?
it's the,
That whole area is
Yeah.
TIF area.
Yeah,
Okay.
This is county too.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, we're just talking
so
about
it
the
is TIF?
117 right now.
It's part of the.
It should be,
ConAgra
because it's part of the ConAgra property.
Okay, because I wasn't
ConAgra's
sure
right
that it
there, it's
was.
this property right here.
Yeah, I know where it is, I just didn't know if it was part of our TIF
Oh.
area.
I think that entire industrial area was.
Yeah, if ConAgra's in it, I can't imagine that it wouldn't
So,
be.
so then I have my other question is, if it's county TIF now, let's say they want to annex in, whatever, how would that affect what we get since it's already county TIF?
The county's issued bonds, TIF bonds. The county will get to continue to collect its TIF, in other words, the rates that are currently in effect on that property until those bonds are repaid. Your rate is not captured by the TIF. So if they come in on the however many acres it is that's outside town, the county will pay that up.
And we can TIF on top of their TIF.
Which, yeah, that's what
I'm
I
assuming you can still TIF on top of it.
Can't.
Oh, they did away
can't?
with that?
Yeah, they can't.
So the county would capture that?
I don't think the county cap, unless the Senate Bill 1 made a change.
Well, so, I forget what year this was, it was probably 2021. Because we testified, I mean, the Anson and Whitestown was the overlapping TIF area, and they use that as the case study for, this generates too much dispute amongst the units, it's too difficult to account for. The softwares could never account for one parcel being in two allocation areas, so it was always kept track of off sheet by the county auditor and us. And the DLGF had it in their legislation bill that they were gonna abolish overlapping tax allocation areas. And my recollection is it went through, we've been saying that for the last year.
So I'm trying to figure out why they want to annex in, I guess, and if they do want to annex in, what would be the advantage to them or to us? I mean, I guess that's, I can't figure that out, why they,
For phase 2 and phase 3. Because if they're not in the city, I mean, we don't have to provide them with police and fire protection or utilities for that matter.
Except we're
But we
already
do.
contracted with the
yeah,
township.
we can do to, I don't know, someplace along the line, they were told they had to annex in order to get our utilities, which is false,
They
right?
don't have to annex in, we don't necessarily have to
Provide,
provide.
Yeah,
if they don't.
yeah,
Yes, we can provide it if we
But
want to
we don't
provide it, but
have
we're not
to.
required to provide it.
but they would have to pay for any, if that's part of the agreement, the infrastructure plus that surcharge that,
Correct. Yes, they would have to pay for the infrastructure to connect to our utilities, to acquire service, and they would pay 125% of the cost of the utilities based on our rates.
I'm just really stumped as to why it felt like we got the cart before the horse in all of this. Do you know what I mean? It seems like they were really pushing us. They wanted to go before our city plan. And then after they got approved through city plan, then they were gonna come and petition
For
the
annexation.
council for annexation, and I still don't understand why.
Well, my guess is they want all of their zoning authority, they want all their ducks in a row. That's my guess.
Well, and that's what we had talked about before, Mayor, is that it's easier to go before the city BZA and the city plan commission. Because
Versus-
we've got that piece that's in city limits already, than it is to go through the city on that piece, but to go through the area plan commission through the county on the 700 acres, that it's easier if you've got one board that's making a decision, because if the city plan commission requires X, Y, and Z, and the area plan commission requires X, Y, and Z plus ABC, now we've got two different things that are
So
going
they
to
already-
come into play. So if you do it all in one jurisdiction, then you've got the same rule book to apply to both parts of the project. That was always my understanding of why
Yeah,
they would want to
yeah.
be in the city limits, but I don't have any verification of that, that was just speculation.
So Gary, if we annex and it's in the county TIF area, what's the benefit to us of annexing?
Well, that's why it's kind of like Judy said, a little bit backwards, right? Because we don't know what their expectations are, or what their capital needs are, or how much it's gonna cost, or what phasing they're gonna actually do. So that's what I'm concerned about, because I wanna make sure the city's protected in terms of funding whatever that expectation is, and knowing what that is before I would wanna know all that before
Oh,
you went through.
yeah,
the conversation. That makes
absolutely,
sense
yeah.
to me.
We don't get any revenue.
So, It's difficult because, you know, I think if you just look at it and you say we annex over a county tip area, that parcel will pay the city tax rate. The question is, where does it go? It's gonna be really difficult for the county at the software level to say, you know, $1.60 or $1.40, whatever it was, I computed it earlier, goes to the county and all the overlapping taxing districts, and then this little piece here is gonna go into the tax base of Frankfurt since we can't tip it. You're accounting for different assessed values in the same parcel. And that was the issue, that was the reason why they eliminated that in 2021. So it seems to me like the standard default would be the tax rate of the city would go to the county tip area. That's how Decatur County works on their county tip.
I would think that just doesn't sound right, because you could tip outside the city boundaries and the city could never grow. You know, we wouldn't
A lot
have
of
revenue
counties
to
have
grow.
done that. Johnson County enveloped the entire city of Greenwood with an
I mean, can we
application for that reason.
definitively find that out? Because there is no point in talking about this any further if we're not getting city tax rate on any.
Well, I think, so, in the Greensburg instance with Decatur County, there was an agreement executed between the two parties, where when the city would receive settlement biannually, there was a computation as to where those funds would go. And there were several bonds outstanding for utilities back then, that once all those paid off, the county got their portion, the city got their portion. So the city's now getting over $1 million a year from their portion of the tax rate on that deal. So I would envision something similar to that, where we would say, if we did annex and the county did have access to the city tax rate, we would want our piece back, or we would want all of it through some, you know, interlocal agreement or however it would work, because we don't know what our capital asks are. We may need those funds to, nothing's there now, so would they be willing to carve that out of their allocation area? Since there's nothing there servicing their debt now, so it wouldn't impair bondholders. Would they carve that out of their allocation area to allow us to capture all of it?
I don't think they would.
I can't imagine.
Well, you know, what? Was the county ever able to TIF into our urban growth zone? Was that not a consideration at the state level? I mean, so the urban growth zone's been established for, what, 25 years, I think? So that establishes that the city has potential growth in that, whatever that boundary is. It just doesn't make sense that we could get our tax rate taken away in an area designed for our own growth.
The county knows this. Because, you know, good municipal law attorneys are gonna say, you could envelope this area and issue TIF debt, and that locks the city out. I've been in meetings where they've had conversations.
It's just not mutually beneficial, though, because they can't grow without utilities, and we're the only ones with utilities.
Okay, so we get the city tax rate, but it doesn't change the levy, so we'll incrementally get some circuit breaker, but not really do much. What about the strategy of, if we got a voluntary annexation agreement and didn't annex until after they developed, then that affects our levy, doesn't it? If you annex, when you annex, you get to add to your levy. If they've already developed before we annex, is that gonna jump our levy?
If they've already developed before we annex. When you're talking about.
We get a voluntary annexation
Talking
agreement.
about the growth and levy appeal? The annexation levy appeal, or are you talking about?
I'm talking
growing
about
the tax base?
growing the tax base, but when you annex, it's my understanding that the what you annexed comes in and increases your levy immediately. Well, if you're only bringing in land,
I see what you mean.
you're not doing much. But if you say, okay, I want a voluntary annexation agreement, and we're gonna do it after you've built, and then we're gonna annex, then it's coming in at the developed price. Is that a decent strategy?
I would still think you would want to, in that instance, if you had your way about it, you would still rather the county capture it and then you get your portion back through some agreement.
Okay,
You'd rather have that.
okay, then have an interlocal with them for part
You're
of
gonna
it.
collect more money that way.
Yeah.
In terms of like, it's not as general in
Yeah.
use. But yeah.
So
I get what you're
the
saying.
county still benefit substantially, but it makes it worthwhile for us to do it.
But Senate and Rolled Act One's also, well, maybe, I guess this upcoming legislation says there's a lot of changes coming for how the levies are grown. We
Okay.
think they're probably gonna eliminate your 4% MLGQ,
What's MLGQ?
your 4% max levy growth quotient. Because we think they're gonna push everything to they're pushing for everything to go to a rate cap system where we're all at $3. Which if you look at your 1% and 2% deductions for homeowners and 2%, it just so happens that once they're fully phased in at $3 tax rates, no one's at the tax cap any longer. You're exactly
Yeah.
right on the tax cap, but you're not over it. So if they lowered everyone to $3, that was over $3, right for being one, and they increased everyone that was under $3 to $3, there's winners and losers there, obviously.
Yeah.
But the whole concept of levy growth goes away. The only thing that matters is assessed value.
Then
Assessed
at that
value
point,
growth-
then at that point, assessed value actually gives us money.
Right, which it does now, kind of does now anyways, with circuit breaker.
Because circuit
So
breaker
it's a
does.
little more straightforward way of doing it, but there's gonna be a lot of pain between now.
Lower, the people that are getting the 1% are the ones that are really gonna pay.
They lowered our income tax rates, remember?
I'm getting a definitive answer here. From a typical, because that would be a pretty big change in annexation. I was unaware of it, so.
We don't want to annex them in until after.
If that's possible.
That's for
The
sure.
problem with annexing it after it's built is that for them, they then wouldn't get the benefit of going through one jurisdiction. They'd have to go
Yeah.
through the ABC
That's
and
true.
the city. The other thing about that is that from a zoning perspective, then the area plan commission is the one that's going to be making the conditions and determining what they have to jump through
Okay.
in order to get the zoning redone. Whereas if it's through the city, then the city plan commission would be the one that would be setting up those conditions. So if there were things that you all wanted to see, you could say to the city plan commission, hey, we would really like to see, these conditions put in place, and then it would be the city's jurisdiction to make that determination as
Yeah.
opposed to the county's. I do know that the county most likely will put conditions on it if it does go before the area plan commission.
Yeah.
Typically that happens,
Yeah.
but what those conditions are would be up to them, not up to the
Okay,
city.
so it probably doesn't make sense in this one. It might be something we work toward on housing development kind of thing of trying to do that.
I mean, there's just a
As
lot
long
of
as the
different
UDO
things.
can be consistent with the county, though, there's not as much difficulty there.
Yeah.
And because of the interlocal out to the interstate, we've already said we're gonna wait 10 years to annex, so we're gonna already be annexing after the development, so it's gonna be coming in. But again, if what Gary's saying is true, it doesn't matter, because it's gonna come in at the levy's gonna go away. It's gonna be based on assessed value. Okay, got a whole bunch of,
Yeah, there's a lot of.
There's a lot of layers.
yeah.
There's a lot that we have to consider, that's why I wanted to have you guys here today, is to kind of get these questions answered, because everybody has, they want to know what's.
Well, I think our constituents want a nice, small little town to live in without huge, great big buildings if we're not getting the tax revenue that gives us the amenities everybody wants. So
Right.
this has to be beneficial to move forward. And
It has to.
boy, there's so many unanswered questions. I don't know how we get them all answered.
Yeah,
And if they want to annex it prior, I want it in writing that they're gonna have all infrastructure on their cost,
yeah,
not ours.
right.
Like, so the whole council and the mayor could execute.
Well, I mean, you all could.
What could we do? I'm sorry.
I was just saying, I think one of the things you gotta do is somebody's gotta execute that NDA and get
Yeah.
permission from them. Because
We-
otherwise, you'll be chasing your shadow.
Yeah.
Now, whether it's the whole council or a subset of the council, I mean, you obviously are
And
gonna.
we've already said no one of us will sign an NDA where we can't talk to our own colleagues.
So, and all of them.
Yeah, I mean, that's not right.
But-
It's not, I mean, we have to make our constituents
and you
aware
said
of what's going on.
All these folks have already,
They've been negotiating, but they're not in the NDA.
they're gonna need to sign the NDA.
Yeah.
You're gonna need their input.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, eventually you're gonna need input.
And again, it all comes back to, what do we want Frankfurt to be in 30 years? And if we just want to keep putting up smokestacks, we can create another nice Gary. That's not what we want to be. We want to get on board with where the world is going, and that's technology and AI.
It was about 10 years ago, there was talk about a tech park. Remember, there was talk
Yep.
about a spec
Yep.
building being
Yep.
put out where Centurion is. And now it's moved to agri-tech or whatever the buzzword's been. I don't think we ought to be scared of the technology. We just need to be in control and have the right
Yeah.
partners in moving forward, so we know what's going on. And then
Exactly.
we can make sure our constituents know.
Yeah.
And, you know, they can tell us things all day long, you know, like,
Yeah, they need to be held accountable.
we're
for
not
everything
gonna
they
bring
say.
in, you know, foreign, people from foreign countries and all this. I had a guy sit in my office the other day and he's like, that's not true. Most of these are connected to, you know, countries outside of the United States. And so what do you believe? We've been told they're not gonna have a lot of water usage. Then somebody else will say, yeah, well, you said it is a lot of water
Can't
usage.
imagine they won't.
And they're like, no, it's like it's air cooled now. And so, I mean, it just feels like we're just getting a lot of different,
There was a contradiction, 'cause it did say mostly air cooled, but then it'd say million gallons per day
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
same
so
meeting.
it's like-
And what you, as I said earlier, what you need to know is, I don't wanna know what their average is. You need to know
Peak.
what's the peak gonna be.
Yeah.
Because my experience is those peaks are steep.
That parcel is in the Conagra allocation area.
it is, okay, that's what I wondered, okay.
We wanna take it out, put it back in as its own.
Well, that's what I wondered too, how that would all work. I mean, would anything be binding that we have with ConAgra?
There's some
No.
negative value, well, aside from agreements outstanding, there's actually a negative increment on that parcel now. So you could take, it would actually help the Conagra area if you took it out.
Because currently, everything we get from ConAgra, of course, just turns around and we send it right back to them.
Until next year, you get half of 10%.
We do,
You get half of 10% next year. Yeah.
next year?
A whole half of 10%?
A whole half of
Okay.
10%. And next year it's half 20%.
And that's all gonna go to RDC though.
Yep.
I think on this data center, that, it's very confusing. I think what happened is they come in and talk to a few individuals and sold them a lot of blue sky and got this thing rolling, and I think that's what they try to do to a lot of communities. At least that's what my research shows. So I think we need to be really, really careful with this. I'm dead set against it personally. I just think we need to look at this really, really close and watch what we do and where we step. It's not about us, it's about people in Frankfurt. We just need to be real careful with this.
And I agree with you, John. We've had that mentality because we've said absolutely no to a battery recycling center that wanted to come here. At the economic development level, everyone knew that wasn't right. I don't think until a month ago, people knew what a data center was. You know, I mean, it's been touted as like as bad as windmills. I don't know that that's the case, but, you know, we gotta do our due diligence and find out if, you know, it is bad or if it is potentially good, I think.
So
I'm not prepared to say I'm definitely for or against until we know the facts, though, either. I don't like to go off based on partial information.
So you said that you would take it out of the one tip location and have its own. So would that, I mean, I guess what would be our next step or not be our next step?
Coming into today, I thought that I needed to talk to Doug Swain directly. I don't know that we're gonna get any more information by doing that, because he directed me to Parker, and I didn't get a lot of information from him either.
Well, that's what I
A lot of,
figured
like, we
you
don't
would.
know,
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
That's what we get all the time too.
So, I mean, the next point, I mean, yeah, there's probably NDAs, why would you, you know, potentially commit to all of this, you know, millions of square feet of data center without some guarantee that there's a reason. But from our perspective, you know, we were asked the question, what's the pros and cons of annexation, I have nothing to cover. Because I don't know what their capital needs are. And we don't know what they're gonna commit to and what the revenue source is to offset those capital needs. How we would even structure economic development impact payment or other things. So we just need a lot more information to do anything. That's why I mentioned originally before the city does it. I mean, I wouldn't have any more conversations on annexation until
Yeah.
I knew all of these.
And that's what was so scary when they were petitioning without any, it's the first time ever there wasn't meetings about what can you give us before we come into
Yeah.
you, and it was, they just absolutely bypassed all of that.
I think, I need to know, I'm under the understanding that if land is annexed into the city, then the city is obligated to get utilities to their facilities. If they build a building, then we're obligated to get the utilities to that building. If it's outside our city limits, then they're obligated to get the utility to us.
If they want our utilities and they're outside of city limits, then they would have to build the infrastructure to connect, yes,
to bring it to us.
correct.
But if we annexed all that land in, then we would have to build the utilities to them. Is that correct?
Generally speaking, yes.
Yeah, see, that's, we can't afford to do that.
Now, I will say that the utilities, to my understanding, had a conversation regarding that, and they were told that they would sign an agreement, or we could include in the annexation ordinance, that they would construct the infrastructure to come to Frankfurt and meet where we are
So
if
that-
they were to be annexed.
So
That
that's
was the
negotiable.
Yeah.
That was the conversation that was
Yeah,
had in
yeah,
connection with
yeah.
when they were potentially considering annexation, that they would construct that infrastructure regardless of the location, whether it was in city limits or. It was
Okay.
I'd like to see that in writing.
But it was, we didn't get that far. We didn't get that far.
Yeah,
because-
if we get that far,
What
okay.
we're describing is an economic development agreement,
Yeah.
which just says,
Yeah.
you do this, we'll do that. There's a risk that this may not get approved, but this is generally the outline of what we're trying to accomplish.
But again, we didn't get that far to get any agreement put in place because we weren't.
Well, my understanding is that big power line out there has plenty of power on it for the data center.
I can't answer that question.
Well, I can't either because that's
That would be
a
someone-
transmission line.
Yeah, that would be someone who knows much more about that than I do.
But I think I've been told that we have plenty of water out in our water park.
At the utility service board meeting Monday, they stated that they had not yet signed an NDA, and they also stated that they believed they had plenty of water in the aquifer from the conversations they had had with the developer, that there was plenty of water in the aquifer to take care of their needs based on what they had been told, that it would not affect our aquifer in any way.
Yeah.
And they also stated that they had presently had the capacity for both wastewater and for water based on what they were told by the developer at this meeting.
I remember that.
Caveat, that if they're only being told average usage,
Right, and,
you don't know the answer to that.
and I can't speak to what they have told
Yeah.
them, that's what,
We'd have to find out what their peak is. Yeah, so that's
And I don't
what,
think you're gonna find that out without the NDA,
Yeah.
so.
so,
I would definitely ask somebody at the utilities to make sure they ask for the peak.
so if they forced us to have to build onto our treatment plant, then we could say, okay,
you're paying.
you guys could pay them for that expansion.
Yes.
Okay.
And I think that's key. Our current users, citizens should not be paying for
Right.
this
No.
Not in any way.
development. I mean, it's gotta be controlled if it happens at all.
I agree.
Tight control, very tight control. Informative.
And that would be the same for really any big development out there.
And then another question will also be if they had to add on to the sewer department, would it be cheaper just to put another small one out there for that area?
There's been some discussion along those lines.
I mean, why have a line going all the way across?
But I think,
Would I have to pay for it?
Clarence, you were in, I think, some of that initial. I think if I'm not mistaken, it was what, 15 to 20 million to service, to get everything to our existing.
Yes.
We were looking at 50 million to build a new plant.
Yeah.
Which could not be, it's not serviceable. We couldn't raise the rate high enough with no more revenue coming in. It'd have to be like a huge development that brought that about. Now, is there's such thing as what, is it bond anticipation, or how do you bond banking on the development paying for that kind of infrastructure? There's methods for that?
So you're talking about
You can buy the TIF bonds.
plant expansion or
Yeah,
capacity upgrades?
like that example I just gave. If something, a huge user was going out there, we knew we had to build something else. How do you do that without raising the existing rate?
In the example that I keep referring to, they just said we don't want your bond. Just pay for it.
Which we're not
Back to-
able to do.
Back to the point of, they don't want a perception, at least in this instance, that they were negatively impacting users. But, you know, to address your question more directly, how would you fund something like that? You have to look at for utilities, you're looking at, you know, what do you have debt service coverage capacity to issue? What are your outstanding parity requirements? How you fund debt service reserve, all that sorts of things. So, you know, utility bonds would be a way, but you're raising rates on users, bad. The other way would be to raise tax increment finance bonds to fund something like that.
And that would just be for servicing that TIF area.
Yeah, I mean, we could probably set it up in a way, well, I mean, in an ideal world, you would say, we'll issue bonds for infrastructure, but you buy them, developer. Then you're not selling them to the open market, and you've isolated the revenues to the revenues of the project. When we propose that, I mean, we're talking about, you know, trillion-dollar companies, they're like, let's pay for it. That's how you would do it with the isolating the risk, is you would ask them to purchase the bonds.
So I have a small concern about our exposure here from a legal standpoint in dealing with this company with potential development. What kind of legal advice do we need on proceeding? You know, as far as who talks to who and in what capacity?
Well, the first thing that you'll need to find out, and I can't even answer this question for you as I'm sitting here, we gotta find out who's on the other side, which you don't know. And then you're gonna need counsel to help you guide through this, and fairly experienced counsel on deals. But you might have conflicts, because, you know, you gotta make sure that whoever it is on the other side, you know, is, you know, I don't know if your, you know, counterparty is a client of mine. I don't. And so that's, this is, I mean, somebody mentioned these are trillion-dollar companies, and they are, and they will be well lawyered. And you are not the only area where they're negotiating, so they've got this is sort of like the most important thing they are doing. You will need to be well represented.
And all the really, really big law firms, they probably deal with at some level, and they've got a
maybe,
conflict.
but if they're not, you know, it depends upon what they may be doing for them, and they may not have.
They might
I mean, you know.
Can you exclude conflict based on office? This
I
office
mean,
has not.
you can waive conflicts.
Okay.
And they may very well, in order to facilitate, you know, hey, we really want to locate in Frankfurt, we want to make sure Frankfurt's well represented and knows, you know, can come to this. They may very well waive the conflict.
Okay.
So, you know, if the other firm is not, you know, on the other side of the deal, then they can waive that, so.
So I think a concern of mine is, as well, is who they're contacting and who they're having information given to them. I mean, should we watch who talks with them or who, do you see what I'm saying? I mean,
You know, I come back to, I really think to move forward, you're gonna need to execute the NDA. And you will want points of contact. I don't think you
That's
want
what I
to just
wondered.
reaching out to anybody.
because that's kind of what's happening right now. They may find something out. They may get a hold of me, they may get a hold of somebody on the pit board, they may get a hold of our economic development director, they may get a hold of Don, and I just feel like it's just like everybody's telling them something different, and they're just trying to pull from different people on what they can find out, and I think that's a very uncomfortable
I
situation
think
for
you
me.
need a chain of command on this side.
So the mayor could give this gentleman a statement that all future communications would go through her.
If we want it to go, you know, if the mayor wants to be the point of contact.
Can we make Alicia? Can we make Alicia the point of contact?
But I think, you know, I think it, and frankly, it makes sense, because once you have the NDAs in place, you can then make sure you're honoring your NDAs, and so we only want, you know, this is the point of contact, and, you know, these are the people that will be kept abreast of the information that we're talking about. I think they should appreciate that.
At the point that we want legal counsel, is your firm interested or in?
Oh, I'm sure we
legal-
would be. I
Or-
just, I
or-
can't.
Or at least if you're not, to help us in identifying who we can talk to because we don't know who to talk to.
I understand, yeah, I think that, you know, I need to know who they are.
Yeah.
First,
Yeah,
before I can answer the
yeah.
first question.
But if you've got conflict, maybe you
Yeah.
can bring in ICE or maybe,
Yep.
you know. Yeah.
All of the above.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Because I just feel like a lot of information's getting out from different sources, maybe from people that don't have the authority to even say that. Do you know what I mean? And
I understand
so they're just
exactly what
catching
you're
on to some of this information and then,
I
well, so-and-so
understand.
told me this, or we're doing this because of, you know, just like we were told we have to be inside the city limits to get utilities. You know, because I ask them and they'll not tell me why they were told that, because I said it's not true. We've negotiated with other places, you know, that let them come in and if they pay for the infrastructure and the surcharge and that type thing, I just want to make sure that everybody's protecting our city, our constituents, our council members, our elected officials. I mean, I told Swain the other day, you know, it's the elected officials that make these decisions, and they're out asking other people, and I'm like, they can't tell you that, so.
At the best, I can see this becoming a Cummins engine to Columbus kind of relationship where they enrich and embolden and make our city. At the worst, I can see them dragging us down, and that what we have now is the negotiation to see where we fall in that spectrum.
I think that's accurate. 100% accurate.
I think there's a few people, or maybe a small group of people that think they're negotiating for the city, and I don't think they're doing it to be harmful. I think they're doing it because they want it done and they don't want to follow the right path, you know. The business I was in, it's a chain of command, period. There is no it's black and white, chain of command. And if you don't follow that, you probably won't be there the next day. So I think that needs to be followed here. In this situation, I think that's just what the mayor said. I think we need a point of contact, so we're not hearing 18 different things from 17 different people.
Yeah, I mean, every meeting with this developer ought to happen in the mayor's office,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
if there's to be any more.
And again, ultimately, it doesn't happen without this board saying yes to the utility. So there is the final control comes to that.
Exactly.
Okay.
And back to the financial impact, which was part of the reason why we had you here today, is we plan our budgets, and so we're not gonna see any financial impact from this for 2 years maybe?
I'm assuming you're billed out, it's 4 or 5 years, but.
Yeah,
4 or 5 years?
The planning phase alone is probably a year or more, I would guess.
So for our next year's budget, we can't plan on.
The money's not gonna be till the year after,
Gotcha.
January
Yeah.
1st, after it's complete. Yeah.
Steve, I will say though, back to the utility perspective on this, that would be if there was electric coming from the city of Frankfurt. If they were to get electric from Tipmont, which they could very well do, then that wouldn't require a rate change for water and sewer.
So they could just do it.
So
without
that wouldn't be something that the council would have a say on necessarily, because the water and sewer rates wouldn't necessarily change.
So in that scenario, as long as they satisfy UDO at the final approval and all that, there's no stopping them if they wanted to do the 117 acres?
Well,
They still need the water.
they would need water,
Yeah.
but the water would depend on
Okay.
whether or not a water rate change was going to occur, if they were going to do something for a large water user, how much water they're using, that
Okay.
sort of thing. But if no rate change is occurring,
But
and they're
that's
just
not
purchasing the
gonna happen
water,
with this volume. So we do still have control on that.
as long as there would be some sort of rate change,
Yeah.
yes. If there was no rate change, then
But given
That
the
wouldn't have to
volume we're talking, there's no way they're gonna get that without a volume big enough to change the rate.
potentially, I don't know.
I mean,
I
I'm
don't
just
know.
guessing, but I
But-
can't
but-
imagine.
My recommendation would be that the council and the utilities, you know, when we're talking about point people and things like that, looping in a utility member so that you all can become on the same page
Yeah.
between the utility service board and you all would not be a bad idea anyway. If there is a rate increase, that would come before the
Yeah.
council. If there is no rate increase, then that's something that they would have the authority to do.
The NDA has to include utilities too.
Correct.
Right.
And I
Absolutely.
think that including that in the mindset of, okay, there are ways that utilities would be before the council and there are ways that they wouldn't be, that's something that you all need to keep in mind as well, just because that conversation will need to be had with those, with that board as well.
Good.
Because if they do, for sure, if there's an electric, that would require a rate change because they're gonna be such a high electric consumer. That consumption is not going to, there's no way we can do that without having a rate change. That rate change would then have to come before the council. But with the water, depending on how things are structured with the utility service board, that may or may not. If it doesn't come before the council, then that's not something you would potentially be involved with. So I just wanna make sure you all keep that in mind, because they very well could go with Tipmont. We don't, I don't know, I don't know that the.
How
utility-
could they go with Tipmont if the current 115 acres is in our electric zone?
Well, if they purchase the land next to and they put the meter on their land that's in Tipmont's
It
and they
doesn't
run
matter
a line
where
on
the
their own
secondary goes?
land, then they could.
They've got the ability
Yeah.
to privately distribute electricity
Right.
across the.
Is ConAgra all, is part of it's Tipmont, isn't it?
No idea.
I don't-
No,
It's not, it's all ours?
ConAgra's all in our territory.
Okay. For some reason, I thought Tipmont was out there already, but
I mean,
But they're out there just north of where they,
just north of there, okay.
I don't
and
expect them to
west.
come in and try to pick fights like that. I just don't. I mean,
But we just need to be mindful of what could be.
that is an option for them on electricity.
Just keep it in mind, that's all.
Okay.
Yeah, it depends on where they put their metering.
And, you know, electricity is probably gonna be the biggest capital investment. And it may be IMPA that makes it, but that's probably the biggest capital investment that we're talking about.
But again, if we're talking $1 trillion company, that's all it is.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it just, but that's,
Yeah.
But that's their biggest consumption is electricity.
it's a huge consumption, and as I said, it would not shock me at all to hear that for a data center this size, you're talking a dedicated combined cycle gas turbine, which, those aren't cheap.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they'd have to have a whole substation just dedicated to them.
Oh, They'll need a
And
substation.
maybe
for
more
sure.
than, maybe more than one.
They'll need a substation, like I said, they'll probably need a generator dedicated just.
See, I was talking to our utility guy, and I think they were going to build their own substation out there, but they were going to let us add a transformer for our purposes as well. So we would have one transformer to help Frankfurt Utilities. The rest of their transformers would be supplying power just to them.
These mega load customers, and I don't know how much you follow the governor's pronouncements and executive orders on electric utility generation. This has been the source of several of those orders. Indiana does not have enough generation to serve all of the data centers that are coming. They just don't.
I think nationally, weren't they thinking about allowing some companies have their own mini nuclear plants?
Well, there is the ability, under existing law, for them to self-generate on site. So, if they can get it permitted, yeah, they could. But yeah, there's been talk of that.
Well, they're doing it successfully all over France. Why can't we?
I kind of want that government regulated, not business regulated.
Yeah.
I mean, they're talking about repowering 3 Mile Island to serve data
Yeah.
centers. That'll tell you how behind we are on
Yeah.
generation. I mean,
Yeah.
some of us in the room are old enough to remember 3 Mile Island. I mean, the idea of that firing back
I know
up.
what he's talking about.
The idea of that firing back up is just sort of like shocking.
Weren't they building a nuclear plant down on the Ohio River and they shut it down after the 3 Mile Island thing?
Oh, that was-
Several around the country were, yeah.
They shut them all down.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any other, like I said, I don't think it's gonna affect our budget for the next.
It's not gonna affect the budget.
I
No, but I do
think Todd
think
said
they-
the transformer would take 3 or 4 years to get here.
Transformers, there's a lot of lead, a lot
Yeah.
of lag.
Just, I mean, so we're not talking about next year or the year
Yeah.
after's budget, but we're talking,
Well,
I keep going back to, I'm looking at, I've got limited time on this earth. I'm looking at how it affects this city in 30 years, long after we're gone.
there is a long lead time
Yeah.
on getting transformers and generation online. Much of the equipment in generation, those turbines, transformers, much of that equipment comes from countries that are in the midst of a trade war with us right now, and so who knows?
Yeah.
That's drastically impacting the price, so it's.
What's guiding all my decisions, that I've said this in public meetings several times, is society is made great when old men plant trees, the shade under which they will never sit. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to plant trees, and we're trying to figure out what the right trees are in the right place.
Yep.
And it's not easy.
That's not.
Okay, does anybody have anything else for them or any other questions? This is our chance.
Other fact, I think you need to reach out to everybody. If they
Well, I gotta know who
contact
it is.
anybody, they need to go through you first.
Yeah.
Can't possibly
So-
find it out yet.
And especially,
I have no clue.
Who's gonna start that process?
That's what I wondered.
You're not gonna find the entity out until it's signed. Non-disclosure. And then
So it's kind of in your court, Mayor, to see if you want to move forward with signing anything.
I mean, I can ask Rick, a couple other.
So what do you think?
Where,
Work with Alicia right now, you think, and then see, bring in,
Personally, I don't think I have another meeting.
So we're not done with this yet either, are we?
I have sent an email.
and then if we have to,
Let Alicia begin the process of making contact with a specialty attorney.
I need to let Dawn know that as well.
That said changes from the 2021 one legislation and it
It's probably.
Maybe it is.
Huh?
Probably gonna have to make a statement.
Which that's different than
Yeah,
Moving
I'm
forward,
talking.
there'll be no more meetings.
What I'm talking about is
without me.
the law on a
Do you think I should have like a council member or two? And
Yeah, I mean, you can insert, I think, any committee at any
Yeah.
time that's appropriate.
no debt issue.
Maybe a utility committee for
Yeah.
instance, maybe a finance
Yeah.
committee for an up.
That, if there was a debt issue,
Hey,
The
Don,
big thing is,
that is what's outside of statute.
until
Yeah.
that was repaid. But it didn't
Don, Don.
I think the statute's silent.
This is like the hot dog festival. I never eat this much. I don't eat during the day.
silent the way that it was
So from here
worded.
on out, everything, you don't,
It meant they were protected on their bonds.
Yes,
yeah.
I agree
But
with
their
you.
bonds are not issued in
Tries
the
to
city.
contact you, tries to
Bonds
engage
are
you.
issued on everything but the city. So
Yeah.
I gotta
Just
ask a tip. But
Oh, I didn't look up that.
2:00, we're done.
the law as
Sounds
Can I
good to
go to the
me.
I have understood for 20 years,
Yeah,
you got your rate.
yeah.
You used to be able to pay
We can do another meeting. We could even do a next council.
At least
yeah.
get your rate.
Better have another
I'm
can.
thinking everybody's going on break.
That,
I have to.
but yeah, I don't think, I mean, I don't think, the statute definitely doesn't say specifically what happens with it, but it does say that a county gets fined if there's debt.
Worst time's in the
That,
morning.
if that
Trying to
statute
get
has
up.
not been amended in recent
Okay,
years,
Gary, thank
then
you.
you get the city. But let me get a definitive answer from this lawyer.
I can't answer that, but I did read the statute recently, so I know it says general.
Yeah.
Anyway,
All right,
thanks, Mike.
you're welcome.
I'll be in touch with you. Yeah, thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Mayor, it's always a pleasure. Did I send you an email introducing you to a guy named Mike Bolton? I'll send you one.
Would you do that, please? Thank you. We've been just a bit busy. Yeah, yeah, thank you.
What do we decide on
We're gonna meet here in a few minutes. We're gonna finish this, on what you started. Yeah, yeah,
That's the last bit.
I think.
Anything else right now?
More meetings to attend to?
Oh, God.
I think she needs help, an assistant, Jim.
Oh, yeah. Something.
Come on, you don't even want the job, you'd rather that job, full job be gone. Can't do that, man, you can't do that.
all right, we're gonna wrap this up in a half hour.
Good,
Half hour.
good.
Do you have to go on into work, or do you work from home some days? Are you going to be Chris's campaign manager or treasurer?
No, I think he is.
Okay.
Who's that?
Her husband's.
Running for prosecutor.
Is he gonna run for prosecutor?
Good, good for
Yeah.
him, I like him.
Is he in competition with the court prosecutor? or
Tony's
is he
retiring.
He's retiring.
So far, there is no competition,
I
so.
think he was smart coming out early.
I just, yeah.
I think there's
People
gonna
that
be,
might have run, had we not.
gonna be competition for sheriff.
No. Say that.
At least a three-way battle now
At
for
least.
primary.
I've heard a couple others too.
Yeah, I bet I'll go to 5.
5 people.
You think there'll be 5
I bet.
total?
But there's been a 5-way primary a number of times.
Really?
It just seems to be the number.
That's wild.
There's probably 10 more people that want to do it. There's probably only 2 people with the balls.
Put their name in the hat. But the more people in, it takes less votes to win.
Used to, there was no guidance from the party on primary, but it sounds like there might be now.
Well, I'm thinking about that. I think,
You can't tell someone no, but you can give them some education and help them along with their decision.
but I don't know that the central committee should be pushing one candidate over
Oh, no,
another.
no, don't get me wrong. I'm talking about guidance. Guidance for the benefit of the community.
Yeah, okay, education.
Absolutely. And maybe in someone's best interest, to wait a term.
But anyway,
No, I wouldn't want someone to tell me I couldn't run.
Okay.
I'd do it just as fine.
that wouldn't go over very well with me either.
I do like your suggestion a while ago, 2 o'clock.
Oh, yeah.
Transparent, Carol. Come on.
We are transparent.
So how much we still need to cut out of the general fund?
I don't, you want to get a calculation from her. So we're close.
Where'd you get that ice at?
Upstairs, the conference room, the light.
I keep forgetting about the ice machine.
Huh?
I keep forgetting about the ice machine.
Yeah,
Where's it at?
up in the conference room.
Oh, the conference room?
Yeah.
Didn't know we had one.
Well, my 44 is about done, so.
I drink all this Coke I can. We don't have pop at my house. There is no pop.
I have at least 2 of these.
In a diabetic coma after
There is
budget
no
hearings.
Coke, there's lemonade, there's tea, no sugar in it. You might as well just suck on a rock as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I'm allergic to tea, so I can't have any.
Really?
Yeah.
All teas?
When I was younger, I know I was allergic to it, so I don't know about the newer stuff. Why chance it?
Don't try anymore of it.
Do what?
Allergic to tea.
Allergic to tea?
That's mostly what I drink now.
I drink green tea. I drink,
water, and coffee. That's it.
I don't drink water. Green tea, I like green.
2 to 3 of these a day, and about 6 cups of coffee in the morning.
You ever had kidney stones?
Never.
Yeah, well, you only need them one time. You'll quit that. That's why I don't drink it.
It used to be 5 of these a day.
And,
When I was working the unbelievable hours during tax season years and years ago, I was averaging 115 hours a week of work. I would average 15 Diet Mountain Dews and 2 pots of coffee a day.
A day?
Get it, yeah.
Good
That's
lord.
what, he's only 55 years old.
He's only 27, but they're
Yeah.
30.
And the amazing thing is, I'd be at the office, it'd be 11:30 at night, and I'd finish my last Mountain Dew, put it down, go, and I'd lay down, and I'd be asleep like that.
Yeah.
I never kept.
I can
my
drink
life.
Coke before I go to bed.
I never
Sleeping
kept
6
my life.
hours and going back to work.
Good lord.
So it was just barely keeping you up, huh?
Yeah.
My cardiologist told me, stay away from caffeine.
Yep, he's a
So,
smart
what do you
man.
have in there?
You know, I said, in moderation.
Yeah.
Well, he told said, no caffeine, no alcohol. I said, so no caffeine or alcohol in moderation.
Yeah, one
He
out two
says,
ain't
you're not
bad.
hearing me, no caffeine, no alcohol. I said, so you're saying only on the weekend?
I'd say I want a second opinion.
There are choices to be made here.
Okay, you're ugly.
I already knew that.
I smoked for 40 years, man. They told me to stop my growth, and I quit.
Then you shot up.
No, actually, my wife said, don't smoke on the property. So that crap ain't working.
My dad smoked 2 packs a day, and he was 30 years old, and he was a doctor, and then he'd be at an appointment. During his appointments, he'd sit there smoking, and he's telling a guy that he needed to stop
Quit
smoking.
smoking.
And he realized the inconsistency. Here's how much control this man had. He put out the cigarette, and he never lit another one.
That's crazy.
My dad did the
Just
same
dawned on
thing.
me.
I wish I could do that.
My dad smoked for 50 years, and the price went up to whatever they were at that point. He said, I'm not gonna do that anymore, and had a half a pack and laid them on his desktop. And they laid there for about 6 months, and he threw them away and never smoked again. I thought, wow, dude.
When I quit, I bought a carton, and I said, when this carton's done, I'm done.
I bought a pack.
And I bought another carton
Yeah.
after that.
I bought a pack of smoking real.
I
Put it
set
out
a
once.
date. I set a date at midnight on this date. Like, I thought that carton would get me there. It did not.
It did not.
So I did have to find out.
I couldn't see either one of you guys smoking.
I I was smart enough to never start.
You're a good man. My wife never did.
You don't
either.
know what you're missing, Clarence. Oh my gosh, it was good.
It was.
Still is.
It was good. You're right. I can't say it wasn't. I'd sit at the desk and go through 2 packs of Camel regulars, man, just 12 hours. Phew. Wonder I'm not dead.
Well, we said a half hour, but the mayor's out there gabbing away.
I won't say I didn't try it, but I bummed cigarettes. I
Didn't
like
inhale,
it.
did you?
The only thing I ever tried when I was overseas, a lot of guys out in the field, use snuff or hardtack. You know, they take a knife and cut the tobacco, and they chew that. I tried that one time. I couldn't get it out of my mouth fast enough. It's like somebody, oh, it's awful. Oh, I don't see how they do that.
I used
Oh,
to
my
do that
God.
dip, but,
Yeah, I don't
about
see how
6
you
months,
do that.
about 6 months, and that's all I could do.
It's bad. It's bad. Ooh-wee.
Wintergreen wasn't bad, it just
Oh,
started burning.
I never tried it again. I like coffee. I drink no coffee. One time.
Do
It's
you
like
have a calculation for us as far as what we total, what we've said we'd pull out?
I'm so sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Do you have
very
a
well.
total of what we said we'd pull out today?
I have a running list, I haven't totaled it. I need to bring a better calculator than the one on my phone.
what I use. They all work
I'm
the
used to
same.
an adding machine
I know
though,
you are.
so the calculator, and then my grandson has mine in euros. Because he likes to do things with, he's very math oriented, so he likes to see what it is in euros, so.
Can you just confirm what the items are as you go?
Your dad used to smoke?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
2 packs a day till he's 30, so. That was, he quit 70 years ago.
So this is the list. Playground and dump truck off of CCD, $75,000 total.
35 on playground.
It's 50 for playground, 25 for
50
dump truck.
for playground, 25 dump truck. We gotta add back a police vehicle and take off the code enforcement vehicle. And I need to get the figures for those. And we need to add back the police vehicle equipment, that's 18,000.
Okay.
Age used to-
All those items are in PS Lit, and then,
Oh, yeah.
PS Lit,
You did that electricity.
I did a lot of that.
I know
the
it.
SS4A,
First of all,
Out.
you say, can you do this?
and
Two or
the
three
hot
little
box
jobs?
out
Yeah, I
of
can do
edit.
that.
Or, I'm sorry, those are in
I can already do
MVH.
that.
Are they in
Mary
edit?
Ann would have about
Oh, it's hot box 40?
40 grand for a hot
Yes.
box, I think, yeah.
SSA
They
I
50
go
were.
back and
versus
do that. I
40.
didn't look for the new service.
Let me look here.
They were.
Hot box is 44.
That's funny.
44?
I knew you did that.
Yeah, I did a lot of
Yeah, and the
work for them.
SS4A is
He
50.
he ended up giving me a key to the house.
50,
Here,
Fire vehicle 55.
see if you can find something needs done.
How much was it, a police vehicle?
that's what I'm figuring.
Okay.
55.
I haven't gotten there yet.
You're right there.
Mary Ann,
The fire vehicle
Get over to beer.
was 55, but I didn't know where we landed on that.
I was doing that.
I didn't have notes.
Well, we all agreed one for sure.
One for sure, to keep one, and
He can
then,
pick it.
I had this foam one.
Are they both 55?
I said,
yes.
Then he can pick which one he wants.
But they took
I said, just cut it.
one out already.
That's a telephone one.
So there's one in there.
Just cut it.
There's
Yeah.
one out and
Okay.
one
So
in.
we gotta
Mary Ann
strike
comes
that. So
downstairs and
that-
two.
They're just getting one, but
Like you
it's not something we need
Frank, the phone just stopped.
to calculate today, because that's all, they did
already
that
took
at
it
the end of the
out.
day yesterday.
Okay.
And I'm gonna
I guess I shouldn't
calculate
have said to
police
cut
vehicle
back.
right now.
So I spliced it back
I
together.
think it's 53,
And all that's PS Lit, isn't it?
yes.
Yeah, 53.
Police vehicle is 53.
versus he kept the 40 in for the code, didn't he?
So right now it's what, 240?
Yes.
But out there in the pool, had those drum switches, they're opened and closed.
But those are all in different funds too.
Okay.
And replace those for him.
And then we agreed to move the 2
Enforcement.
firemen from city general to Lowit, or,
Yes, Lip.
Lowit.
So the 2 firemen, a base fireman is like 69,668, I think. Let me
Is that
look.
with the raise?
Not the equipment.
Yes, that's the current, 6969820. So you can call it 70.
Is that with the grant or without the grant?
We don't have the grant, so we got to do it without.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. I don't know what our likelihood of getting that grant is.
Oh, that's all right. That's 200.
All we can do is try, right?
That's exactly right.
Code enforcement.
I think we tried before and didn't get it, so maybe this time will be.
Okay. So that would be 75,000 off of CCD,
Right.
11,000 increase to PS Lit when you add police vehicle back in.
Well, the 2 firemen, you gotta add that too.
Yeah, you want to go ahead and do that now? I didn't know if you
We're
want to
talking
see that.
totals on the-
Okay. So 11 plus 151,000 to PS Lit. I'm sorry?
That's the firemen?
Yes.
Firemen in there.
151,000 increase.
So we're gonna leave their clothing and all that over instead of general, just take the
Probably.
labor out. Okay.
Let's see.
And the hot box and SS4A out of edit, so that's negative 94,000.
Did we take the hot box out? We did, right? Because he said he could live without it, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And we're gonna go to RDC for the other.
50. Or the other for what?
So how did the playground and the dump truck, how'd that figure in? That was a CC?
That was the negative 75,000 to CCD.
So all these moves only reduced the general fund by the 151?
The other, no, it only reduced the general by 140. Because the other 11,000 was just the net of moving those police vehicles around.
But since we loosened up some of those other funds, they'll be able to move maybe more out of city general.
Yeah. So we got about 115,000 in Riverboat to play with. And I don't know what the new CCD is, but I assume there's still some in there.
Well, before the 75, it was 128, well, I'm sorry.
So about 200 grand now.
Yeah, if you look at the year-end cash, yes.
Okay, so if we find a way to get 200 more out of city general for CCD, well, between CCD and Riverboat, that's gonna get us a lot closer. We're just gonna have to know those are exhausted account or funds next year. What's the restrictions for going, CCD capital only? Is that the rules?
I don't know if it's restricted like it was.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Some of those have changed. Some of them, you could just use for certain things. I'm not sure on CCD anymore.
If you look at how we've been using it, it is capital items.
I mean, it's cube cap, so I assume since it's in the name. But I'd be curious to know about Riverboat.
I think
I
Riverboat's
think we can
anything.
use Riverboat for anything, because for.
You used to be able to put in
we u-
general.
We used to just put Riverboat into general. So it didn't have a restricted use. Then the state asked us to pull it out into its own fund, but there aren't any restrictions that I'm aware of.
So what is the, possibility that if we submit to the state a deficit budget, that they will not approve it?
We did it last year.
But we've had more times we've done it than not, right?
Yep. I don't have the paperwork right
So
here,
just
but we.
anything we submit in deficit, we're going to have to deal with it operationally.
Right.
2026.
Right.
And the only thing that bothers me about that is that we're already assuming a 5% unspent appropriation
Right.
starting the year. We've never been denied an additional appropriation, have we?
No. And the process now is, it's automatically approved when you submit it. It used to go through a review, but as soon as you submit the proper documents to Gateway, it's approved.
And I think historically, we've been at about 4 to 6% on unused, so.
I bet we get away from that by 2027. If these numbers stay. They are.
Probably.
So are we gonna cut any more, or are we gonna publish that?
I haven't heard any more discussion about it.
Did you guys decide on that?
What?
What you brought?
What are we doing? Well, I was just getting ready to ask.
I mean, you call for a vote. We can vote in these meetings on these line items.
I just wanna know what you wanna do about Kimberly Black. I didn't know if you wanted to go to RDC and see if they're gonna pay something. I don't know how that's gonna work, but.
I don't think that, I don't think that's
that
it.
works at all, but that's the thought. I just think we gotta keep our good people there.
But for 23-4, I don't see why we wouldn't, for 23-4, I don't see why we wouldn't do it.
See, that's what I'm thinking, you know.
I mean, look at all the spending we got.
I may not use that much. She can use her, person as she needs. She might for 4 days, 1 week, and 1 day the next, I don't care. Here's how much money you got.
Well, if we don't have consensus, just make it in the form of a motion. This is an official meeting. I mean, it's out right now. Yesterday, it got to the point it came out. And I was certainly prepared to entertain it if we got to zero. We haven't got to zero yet. I'm gonna have to, matter of fact, I'm even sitting here looking at the other fire truck, the other 55,000. I think if, for me, it's getting down to, I understand you're saying need on that. I'm wondering if we have to call a vote on the other fire truck to reduce 55 as well.
I think that's a good idea, because we're giving him his 2 firefighters.
Yeah, and he said that was clearly the most important.
Yeah.
And he said he could make,
Yeah, make do.
Cecilia, and they could make
Yeah.
things do.
He'll make do.
They're not going to California and run it hard, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know what they are, GM or Ford. or-
It's a 16 Durango is the squad one, and then what is it, a Dodge pickup truck for the command
Was
vehicle?
I,
Not sure.
I'm not sure either on that one.
They're all by GM, or I mean, manufacturer.
I think Center Township was gonna buy another grass truck.
They are.
I thought that's what he said, for out at the new station.
You know, and I don't want to
know.
speak, out of tune too much here, but we really should have some conversations with these townships again. It's been a while,
Yeah.
right?
I think they're expired this year too.
All of our, except NHK, all of our other township contracts expire
It's a
this year.
great opportunity to find out what the value of this fire service is to these townships. We don't have to say that it's been a bad relationship. What we have to say is, moving forward, we need our costs covered. That is a service being provided by the tax-paying citizens of Frankfort. So there has to be a mutually beneficial agreement. It has to be so much money coming our way that we've sized our fire department to be able to accommodate, what do you say, 105 square miles that the city of Frankfort Fire Department's covering. So I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying let's make sure we're paid appropriately, and the justification is our residents are subsidizing that. Some townships more than others. So, I mean, I would say let's put the fire committee with the mayor and get something accomplished there. And that could easily have one of these, we could find out easily what they have in these funds, and if they have some extra, we could ask for them to pay for some of this stuff.
That's-
I agree.
I'm on the fire committee, that's Taylor.
I think they ought to pay a couple, 3 firemen some salary.
Well, not all of them. I mean, when you put them together, it was if you took NHK out, what was it, 140,000?
Something like that. NHK's 84, 86, something like that, so.
And you can't use the argument that they don't have a lot of fires out there. Because I pay city tax rate, and
It's
the fire
protection.
department's never been to my house, so it's not a valid argument, it's insurance.
And Center Township's
saying I
paying
haven't heard
a
some
lease
stuff.
for us, so that's
I
not
just
really
have- I've been
cash
able to put it up
that's
myself.
coming in.
Yeah, Center Township's been real good about.
They pay the lease, so that's not really revenue into us, so.
But Jackson and
135,000 plus NHK is 84,000 and Center Township pays a $92,000 lease, but the revenue is 135.
You have it broke down by township?
Yes.
Just tell us what it is.
NHK, 84,000, Washington, 14,000, Center, lease payment, 92,000, Jackson, 72,000, Union, 49,000 per year.
So let's use Union as an example. 49,000 a year spread out among that township is about half of one fireman with all the gear, their salary, their insurance. Half of one fireman is what that township's paying, and I don't know how many square miles that is. But that's a lot cheaper than them having their own volunteer fire department.
That's just to be.
No reason that shouldn't be doubled, but you're hampered by their ability to collect the levy.
yeah, I mean, how much
Yeah.
lit do they get for fire
Mayor, did you say that all townships were maxing their levies out?
That's my understanding, they were all maxed.
Was that one, did you say 14,000?
Washington.
But that don't mean we don't cover all Washington though, do we?
I'm
I
not
don't
sure.
think so.
I
I
think
have
we
the
only cover a
contracts
portion
here.
of it.
Okay. I thought that was awful low.
Yeah, it's a smaller portion since we annexed into
Yeah,
Washington
even
Township.
smaller now than it was.
Okay.
I think Marbury has their own. Colfax has.
Well, we said we were gonna end at 2. Are we gonna make any final changes?
What does that make us for general? What's the deficit now?
590, negative 590. Add 140 back, so
But then we're gonna ask Reedy to move as much over into Riverboat and.
Right.
As they can.
so negative 450. But
We've got about 300 capacity over there that they can move over to.
the mayor and I will work with Reedy on moving as much as we can out of general into the other funds that we've freed
Okay.
up.
Has anybody made a decision on Kimberly's assistant?
Yeah, yeah. Can we have a consensus on that, or how do you want to do it, or what do you want to do?
I think just call for a vote, John.
Okay.
I'll second it.
I think we need to get her some help.
I'm sorry?
I think we need to get her some help.
I do too. I think we need to give her some help too. So I just call for a motion for a vote? Just call for a vote?
I think I
thought you
have
did.
recorded that you did, and
I did.
Ro-
Yeah, I
and
did. And everybody.
Councilman Stevens seconding you.
Okay, okay.
So, any more
You can
discussion,
you can
or do we
the
want to
same
do a
thing on
roll?
the other fire truck if need be.
That's it. Was it 20 hours? What we said?
$16 at 20 hours per week. And that was around 16,000. Are you ready for a roll call? I'm going to go around the table since I don't have my cheat sheet. Eric Woods.
Nay.
Taylor Crenshaw.
Aye.
John Large.
Aye.
Robert Stevens.
Aye.
Clarence Worthen.
Aye.
Steve Beardsley.
So I do have a question. I wonder where we're gonna end up on this emergency management?
Well,
Because we've got that in our budget right now for next year at 65,000.
Mayor, I believe that probably ought to be part of the ongoing discussion of our joint city and county economic development efforts. I don't think we're obligated to pay any certain amount. That's just been an agreed upon. It was what, half of the salaries?
Something like that, and I don't even know if that's still what it is. Do you know what I mean? I'm not sure.
We've
how
just
they-
been, what, arbitrarily putting in our raise amounts, trying to match what they did. So since they're completely changing that now, I do know they're gonna pay Renee more.
Are they?
I think they talked about, I don't think it's a secret, I think they talked about moving her and the EMS director at the same level. So that was probably her salary plus an additional, like 30 or something. So that probably means a reduction for us.
That's what I wondered.
They did keep Terry as the
Oh, they did.
assistant over there, so that portion probably stays the same.
I don't remember what our agreement was. Was it half of the director and half of Terry's, or?
That's a great
I mean,
question.
it kind of got, I don't know, and I don't even know what we paid last year. And Carol, you probably don't remember either, because I know there's so many things, what we paid it, because they send you a bill, don't they? But they just give you X amount of dollars, I think. They
I would
don't
be
send-
glad to look that up.
Yeah,
Well, and I think it's
back
open
with
for
you.
2026. It's a yearly agreement, is it not? I mean,
We
if they're
typically-
not holding your tax money back, then it's a yearly agreement.
We
Yeah, they're not
typically,
holding our tax money.
we typically get a bill or an email.
And then
Good
I think we've just been adding 3% because we were thinking that's what their raise would be, but I don't know.
We got a meeting next week, right?
Oh, is it next week? Okay.
Well, the 19th, it's the 19th.
Is that, I'd have to, I don't have my phone with me, so.
Before we leave, we've had a request from Kimberly and Black and Brian Kilman to make a short presentation. Is that
I
acceptable?
have to go. I'm sorry, I have an equipment
Is this
failure I've got to
important?
deal with.
It's kind of important for the city,
Oh, okay,
in a good way, potentially.
okay.
You want to share the next?
Is this going to be a 5-minute thing?
It's gonna be like 2 minutes.
Okay.
Do you want to come
Okay.
over here so we can hear?
Sorry, Eric, I gotta go.
Super quick.
I just want to make sure it wasn't one of those half-hour things. I want to hold you up.
No. Got an email this morning from Susie Kemp. We have been awarded the Mash Road project.
Yes. Yay! Yay, yay.
Unfortunately, we do have a local responsibility to add to that for next year.
What's the total?
Do you have the breakdown, Brian?
Yeah, 304, 166, 67.
That's our
Due in
first year.
2026?
Yes.
We have,
I guess we're having another
So we're
meeting.
starting all over.
Well,
That's why I told her, I said, I feel like I need to be letting them know this because we're discussing this right now, so.
I didn't think it was gonna be that much the first year. It is?
it is, our responsibility is a little over 3 million, so it's 304 for the first 2 years, 26, 27.
I can get you a copy of it, but.
I can get the council.
Okay.
The breakdown
Okay,
of the cost. And then by 28, you're looking at 854,000. And then year 29 is construction.
Can you tell me the 28 number again?
I will just give you this here.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
So this is the completion from
Okay.
what, Haven to?
Haven to Kelly.
Yep.
and that's the bridge walking thing too,
Yes.
right?
It's everything.
Everything.
so when we're gonna have the next meeting? I have my calendar.
This is 3 years in late.
Yes. Is that what you wanted to meet with me about?
Yes, that I said is kind of urgent, so I just decided we were gonna walk in the room.
So while I have you guys, here, we're gonna go to, RDC and ask for the, SS4A.
Perfect.
I've been tuning in.
Can RDC pay for the Mash Road portion?
No,
It's not part of the TIF area.
I don't think you could make a case.
Yeah, but it would contribute to the TIF area. Never mind. Okay, forget it.
Said 50 was one thing, but
That's right.
I know in the future, but I think we need to talk about, if that museum thing don't go through, giving the old police station to RDC.
Yeah, I do too.
Okay,
I knew he was gonna say that. No. Thank you.
all right, Carol, you can.
I'll get that back to
Make
you.
a copy of that,
I will.
please.
I know somebody on the RDC
I'll
said
keep
they
it on
would
top
mind
of
it.
my stack so I don't
When do we want to
shuffle it away.
That
When
is
do we
my only
wanna
copy
talk
of that, and
again?
I don't know where the rest of
Well,
it went.
that's a good
Well,
question.
here, why don't you take it and just make
When are
me
we
a
gonna have our
copy?
next
You're on
meeting?
Monday, aren't you?
Yeah.
So,
Whenever we're gonna have a meeting, let me know, I'll
Or
make sure to
just
be
email
there.
it to me, either
Okay.
one.
okay.
Thank you, bye.
Thank you for the great news,
So we just
however,
leaving with no plans for a
I
future
think we're gonna
meeting?
have to have it.
Go around me.
I have a feeling you have to get on email and get everybody to agree on a day.
The recording.
No, we need to,
Yeah.
and we have a 15-second delay on
Hold. Did you just hit stream off?
the wire.